putting in the work, and I'm really happy about that. Okay? Just keep showing up. Keep coming to meetings. That's how this thing works. Okay? Okay, and I see we have a new person at our meeting. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Actually, I have an activity we can all do together. We should go to Plastic City Comic-Con. There's just so much to do there. There's comic books, toys, games, anything you can ask for.
Wait, do you work for Plastic City Comic-Con?
Me? Work for Plastic City Comic-Con?
But we're all going to Plastic City Comic-Con, right? I thought so. Now, who here owes me money?
PlasticCityComicCon.com for info and tickets.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots and promoter for the Plastic City Comic-Con. With me, as always, Johnny C., creator of Sartana, Surrounded by Death, and The Pond. For who, Johnny?
My good cousin, Roger Morocco, who blocked me today.
Can't wait to hear about that. And our third co-host, Harry G., graphic artist extraordinaire. What's going on?
How's it going?
Hey, guys. I know and Johnny are fucking beat to hell.
Yeah, we're recovering from Terrificon.
I'm almost back to normal, but man, yesterday was rough. I'm kind of glad you suggested to move a day away, Johnny.
I knew it. Well, number one, I had to do it because it was my old man's birthday last night. So
was it? Oh, happy birthday to your dad, man.
Yeah, thanks. But I knew that we were going to be so wrecked from Terrificon to do a show would be just bananas.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it was an executive decision.
Yeah, right.
I don't make a lot of decisions around here, Keith, but I think that was the one I made that I think was a good one.
It was. Harry, you were going to say
no, it's a pretty smart idea. Was it the concrete floors? What was it? You guys went all 3 days, right?
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's that. That's definitely part of it. But like both me and Johnny were prepared. We had like the padding, but like, it's just that, I mean, working at a Comic-Con is like nonstop energy. Like you got to be on. Like I'm sure all our guests tonight will confirm. When you're at the convention, it's like you got to be like the salesman. Like not the like you just got to be willing to talk to people, and sometimes that can take so much energy. And
even more so, like I just when I thought I recuperated from San Diego, I had to go into Terrificon. You know what I mean? It wasn't as bad as previous years where they were like abutted. Yeah, but it was a rough one.
Yeah, this was my second week in a row because like I had Wicked last week. So
I did Wicked, but I didn't exhibit there. So that's why it's just like I've done like 3 week shows in a 4-week period.
Yeah, that's crazy. But we got a great show tonight. We got a full show, like a ton of creators on with us, like probably the most we've had in a while, which is good. And this campaign that's coming up from these guys, it's on right now. They just hit their goal from the looks of it, but they still have 10 days left and they could use more funding, but this campaign looks awesome. And I love a good anthology. So it's be good to talk to them. Before we get to that though, let's say hello to the chat. Let's see what we got going on. Of course, we got my wife in the chat tonight.
Good evening.
How's it going, Amy's Birdhouse?
Once I made Harry laugh.
No, it's very Count Dracula of you.
We got Jack Holder in the house tonight. Jack Holder here. Can't wait to see more about this amazing book. What's up, Jack? Good to see you, man. Let's see what else we got. Of course, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Ara.
Love you, kid.
What's going on, Ara? Good to see you. Is that it? We got a lot of the chat talking to each other here.
The only I know is like from remember the Newton's Apple from like a zillion years ago, growing up in PBS. It was like the guy's name was Ara Plato, I think it was.
Oh, okay. He said sorry, missed you guys at Terrificon. Was there but didn't see you. Oh, no kidding. I didn't know.
It's a big show, so it's easy to miss.
Oh my god, yeah. There's so many people that I found out after the fact were there that I didn't see.
I had no idea how big it was until I was there in spirit because I was watching videos and people posting videos on YouTube or wherever on Facebook. It's huge. It's like an empty show.
It's a
airplane
big show,
hangar or
man.
something. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that at the end of the show when we go
Yep.
into our shameless plug. Me and Johnny will recap our weekend at Terrificon, all the highs and lows and all that stuff.
For sure.
Jack said AEW, AEW, AEW. Hell
Elite.
yeah.
Elite.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's bring out
Actually,
tonight's guest. What
I
were we
just
going to say here?
want to say that our guest from last week, Catherine Blakeney for Napoleon's Starship, she's fully funded. I saw, so that's
Oh,
cool.
she really? Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
I don't know if
That's
you guys saw that. Yeah,
I thought you were gonna give me some new update, like she like learned another skill set, or she just flew to Mars, or
she found
she
another
fought an
mummy.
alien, because
She found
like that girl was just so full of like
Oh my god,
amazing
that was.
stories and things that she's done and with her life. I'm still blown away by
She
it.
needs her own
But,
TV show or something.
I
Yeah,
know
if
she
you
really
guys didn't
does.
see last week's live stream,
Watch it.
Catherine Blakeney, who's
Yep.
a real life archaeologist who makes comics, that was on the show last week. Fantastic.
Oh, so cool.
Guest.
She's part of the Wayward Raven publishing.
Yes.
Yep.
And they fully funded their campaign, which is awesome. But yeah, if you haven't seen that episode, go to the live section on our channel and check out. It was the very last one that we did last Monday. So without further ado, let me start bringing in some of these guests
let's
that
do
we got
this
tonight. So let's start with, I'm going to just start in the order that I see him in the back room here. First, we got Stoney Williams. Stoney, welcome to the show.
Hey,
Yeah,
Stoney.
Man.
Welcome, man.
All right. And then we got Ed Davis. Thanks, Ed.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
How's it going, man?
Good.
Our third guest is Travis Gibb. What's up, Travis?
What's up? How you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Awesome, man.
What's up,
Thanks
Travis?
for joining us. And finally, Phil. I don't know how to say the last name.
It's Phil Butehorn.
Butehorn. Okay. Awesome. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Thank
This
you.
is great. We haven't had this many guests in a long time. Johnny, Harry, should I start off with my normal question since none of these guys have been on the show before?
Yes. Well, Ed has. Ed's been on the show, hasn't he?
Ed, have you? I don't think so.
Maybe.
Don't know. I thought when we were talking at Comic-Con, I thought maybe I had, but I don't know. I think we talked about it because you guys were at special edition, right?
It was shortly after special edition, and we had Ed on because Ed was our neighbor. I think he was right across
That's
from us.
right.
Or something.
Yeah, I was right. by
Yeah.
you
So
guys.
we
it a
have had
quick-
Ed on, but it doesn't
okay.
matter. We should circle it back around because special edition was a long ass time ago.
I'm not here to steal your spotlight.
There
Yeah,
you
no
go.
problem.
No, the spotlight's
Hey,
on you guys.
Hey,
When we have guests on, we're always fascinated by like the origin of like how you guys got into making comics and like what it was in the past that put you on this path. Was it like a magical comic that you read or a cartoon you saw or something that
Possessed by
Put
the
that-
devil. Did you put your
Yeah.
finger in a light
What-
socket?
what was that
Like,
spark that
what
kind of
happened?
put you guys on this path to becoming comic creators? And we could start. We'll just go around the room. I guess we'll start with Travis.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much for having me on. You guys don't know it, Keith and Johnny. You guys, when I got back in the scene about 6 or so years ago, you guys were the first books that I looked up. Reason
really?
why- there's a reason you're like me. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I picked both of you guys' books up early on because I'm from New England.
Oh,
So
wow,
Alterna,
okay.
I knew about Alterna with being a New England book. I was like, oh, I got to buy the Mighty Mascots. And Johnny was hanging out with everybody I knew, but he would never show up in things that I go to. Johnny and I have never actually met in person. I go to GraniteCon. I go to stuff. Oh, he's like, I'm not going this year. Every time, like,
Oh man.
there, like, I went to a free comic book day. I was at Jetpack. He was at Double Midnight. Like he continues to elude me.
We were like two ships passing in the night
Right.
always.
Travis,
Yeah.
so where do you live? Are you in New England now?
I'm not. No, I'm in Florida now. But I
now.
grew up in Rochester, New Hampshire, which is part of my origin story, which is right next to Dover, New Hampshire, which, if as you guys know, but not everybody may watch the show, that's where the Ninja Turtles are from.
Oh,
So
yeah,
and
yeah.
I am 40 ish or something and 40. You know, the Ninja Turtles were such a big part of my childhood. You know, I knew them growing up. They went to comic stores and I got things drawn by them that I threw away because I'm an idiot. And then, you know, by the time I got into school and did all that, X-Men came out. So the X-Men 90s cartoon got huge into that. And Spawn, the 90s boom. And then we had the Tick, right? So if you were in New England, you're like, fuck it, just make an indie comic. Can I swear? Sorry.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just make an indie comic and you're gonna be fucking famous. Like it's just quick. It's so easy. Like, because literally when you look around New England, it was, and not even that, you're like, just write something. Stephen King's killing it. Like, we're doing fine. Just fucking make something. You're fine.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's born in our blood. It's just a matter of tapping into it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't count Jersey, but even Kevin Smith, he was close enough. You know,
He was close enough. A little
close
spillover.
enough. Like, so when I graduated high school, most people were like, hey, go to college and stuff. I was like, yeah, but there's girls that I could still date. And that's going to really cut into my time filling out these applications. So at the end of it, I was like, oh, yeah, shit, I didn't do that. I need to go to college. And I had good enough grades to get into college. I literally just didn't fill out applications. So I went to Full Sail in Florida, came down to Florida to become a movie guy, literally to go into comics. Like my plan was Kevin Smith's doing it because this is right around the Daredevil time. I was like, all right, I'll just make a quick movie and then Marvel will figure, because there was no path. There was no path. And the cons that I went to in New England were just guys selling books, right? Like there was a couple of people who did an independent book that they stapled together, but it wasn't what it is now. That we didn't have Kablam quite yet. Kablam was still a couple of years off. So I came to Florida and I do what everybody does. You go to Florida and you get someone randomly pregnant, so you stay here to raise just like it's like tale as old as time, right, guys? Tale as
yeah.
But I took a break from both comics.
You couldn't stop creating. You just always had to start. You couldn't stop creating. You just had to create.
Right.
I don't blame you, kid.
Right. Just happens. But no, once my
daughter, you know how much rewriting I would do.
No, it's good. I like this. And that and another wife and my current wife, we were sitting down one day and she was just like, my only wife. This is the only wife I've ever had.
I was going to ask. Wait a minute.
Wives there. I was like, what do we not know here?
I'm afraid there's like a shoe going to come out.
Yeah.
I'm the only wife I've ever.
Is she also a writer too? I think I saw her name.
She edits and she does write. Yeah, she edits and she does write.
Cool.
She's wilder than me. We have a whole book that has a song attached to it about my son with cottage cheese. It's wild. Anyways, cool. So I had a book called Broke Down to 4 Dead Bodies that I made in like 2005, 2006, and it was in a folder. It had 3 issues done just in a folder. And I was like, I showed her it and she was just like, it's really dumb that you have a comic book that's complete, like lettered and everything. I was like, that you have never put out. And I really had no answer of why that wasn't done. So I got the bug and then I started creating stuff. And I realized that I probably could have created the whole time if I had a better support group and, didn't just go, hey, my daughter's my number one, because I raise a whole family here. I have a son and a daughter here, both one's 5, one's 12. And we've been just booting out comics after comics. You guys, hopefully you guys have heard of me and I do a lot of books.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's a great origin story, Travis.
Yeah, for real.
And I'm surprised I haven't run into you if you've been up here a few times, like just randomly.
Yeah, I go to Granite Con because I do a book called Granite State Punk that sells really well in the Granite Skate. Who knew?
Yeah, right.
I go to Little Giant. I go to his show every year.
No kidding. I haven't been. I haven't been to Granite State in like 3 years, and then Little Giant I haven't been in a couple of years, but I did a lot of his early shows.
Travis, you doing Granite this year?
No, because Baltimore is the same time as Granite. I'm going to Baltimore.
Son of maybe I need to go to Baltimore.
Yeah, chips in the night, Johnny. They're afraid of us getting together, Johnny. Like I don't know.
Yeah, there might be some type of like cosmic collision or something.
I thought for sure when Bob Sally like kind of disappeared from the scene, I was like, Johnny's gonna come to me like I'm the next coolest guy in New England now that Bob Sally's gone. And like, no, you didn't message, you didn't write,
I don't message or write to anybody, kid. Don't take it personal, man.
Yeah,
I'm a fucking hermit up in here.
Jack Holder said the amount of time I've spent drinking with Travis and Johnny, I can't believe it hasn't been with 2 of them at the same time.
Yeah, for real.
That's
for real, man.
So Ed, same question. How did you kind of find your way into comics?
So for me, I had a book that I had been working on since all the way back to 1998. It was something I had started writing in college and just kept tinkering with it. I mean, it was a stack of notes that, was growing a mile high. I had about 300 finished pages. And I always thought to be a comic creator, you actually needed to know how to draw. I didn't realize that that didn't actually mean you had to be an artist. But I just thought, all right, I just, my brain just thought, oh, Stan Lee drew all that shit. And, there was always everyone who did the comic was this incredible artist. And it wasn't until later that the school I worked at, our librarian was a Kubert School graduate. And we're just kind of talking stories together. And he's like, holy shit, dude, you have to turn that book into a comic book. So I dug out all my notes, went into my bookshelf, pulled out all these, collected editions I had that had the script excerpts back, and thought, all right, I'm actually going to look at these for the first time and look at a format that I can use. And I just started taking all the notes of what was going to be this huge novel trilogy and adapting it all into comic script. And at that point, the librarian was working as an artist as well, but he realized that it was, as soon as he launched my creative switch, this became a giant endeavor. I'm like, all right, we got 24 issues. We're going to do this shit big. We're not playing around. He's like, holy fuck, dude, I can't keep up with your ambition. So I had to go out and hire a secondary artist and, start getting the book moving. But yeah, it was a story that's always been sitting with me. But when I discovered that, as someone who can't draw a stick man straight, I knew I could still make comics. That's what launched this in me and, started me creating the series that I started with, Immortal Era. And now more series are hatching out of that. But that was the original passion project that I started with.
That was great. What was the name of the Kubert student that you talked to? Because I went to 1 year at the school and I loved it. Who was his name?
Manny Hernandez.
And
then I know Phil Ramirez as well. They both graduated that same year.
What year?
Oh gosh.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
I was
a question I don't know, but yeah, those two. Phil's working on a cover for a new series that I'm going to be putting out as well. So yeah, I just kind of like met them. I met several others through the school as well that have done colors and things like that for me. So I mean, you get incredible artists that pop out of there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's what made it into a comic book. Just kind of shooting the shit with him in the break room, and then he's like, we have to make this a comic, and then just
and that
adapting everything over.
Yeah, yep. That's great.
It's all like we all get that, like we all get bitten. We get that affliction
or that moment of inspiration, where you just like, oh shit, I could do this. Yeah, that's awesome. How about you, Stoney?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in the back of a comic book store. My mom worked there.
Oh, really?
So all the guys that worked there became, my uncles. My uncle John owned it, and my uncle R.A. worked there, and he also wrote comic books. He did a lot of indie stuff, Ferret and the Protectors, but he's also done some stuff for Marvel and DC. And so they were kind of always around growing up.
Where was this, and what was the name of the store?
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay. There was Starbase 21.
Is it still there?
Not anymore.
That stinks.
Yeah. But
Stoney, I haven't heard the story. I need to interrupt. I'm sorry. Did he do the die cut cover of the Ferret? Like, was he the writer of that?
The die cut? You mean with the hole in the middle?
You with all the hole that had the claws?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very important to me. Sorry,
yeah,
Keith.
that's Ari Jones. Yeah.
I remember that book actually. Yeah, that was like one of the big indie ones, right? When the Tick was coming out and like
he was like Salvation Army Sabretooth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or we call it was it I forget it.
I like to say Filene's Basement.
No, or the Great Value,
or the Wish version, as the kids would say nowadays.
Blue like Kmart. You guys are New England.
Yes.
Yeah. So fast forward years, and my best friend and I were running a podcast doing comic book reviews, and Mad Keith Studios approached us about doing an article on their talent hunt, and that's
cool.
How I discovered that, and I got it in my head that I needed to try it out, and I kept talking about it. I kept going back and forth over what I would do, and I read all their books, and so I had all these ideas of what I was going to submit, and finally my wife was like, why don't you just shut the fuck up and do it? You keep talking about it, just do it. And so I did. It was my first script, and I submitted to Mad Cave and won that year.
Oh, awesome, man. That's great.
So
right out the gate, your first script, huh? Dude, that's dope. Congrats, man.
When they sent me the email telling me I won, like I lost my mind. So because I've been around comic books and I've been doing the podcast and stuff, I knew people tangentially in the industry, and so I actually reached out to Ryan Katie from Top Cow, and I was like, "Listen, I know we ain't besties or nothing, but like they're asking me for a page rate, and I don't have any fucking clue. Like, what do I tell them?" And so he was giving me some advice and stuff. That was really cool. But yeah, they gave me a 5-issue series, Villainous, and yeah, and then through another one of the talent hunt winners, David Galliano, I met Travis.
So. Nice, very cool. And how about you, Phil? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I had to find my hey. You know what? I can remember from like elementary school, from like the 90s, always wanted to write stories. But when I graduated college 2010, the job market was terrible. It was the end of the recession. So, and New 52 was coming out. So one of my other buddies, childhood friend, we were working the same job, wait every Tuesday. And I was like, hey, to keep ourselves sane, why don't we try to write stories? Now, little did we know, art was really expensive. So we just kept writing stories over and over. But, you know, we both had to get real 9-to-5 jobs. Over time, I met Tyler James. He mentored me. And he was the one who pushed me in the direction of getting involved in anthologies. Oh, and okay. I think so. I probably met Travis maybe 2019, 2020 online. And I've been involved in, I want to say 6 of their books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
now, Tyler James, is that the guy that runs Comics Tribe?
Comics Tribe.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Tyler is such a blessing to indie comics in that regard. He's very selfless. And it goes, my first experience understanding that was when out of nowhere, I got an email when I launched my campaign saying, hey, participate in this thing. We've all gotten that email.
Yeah.
You know, when we've launched our campaign, like that is very selfless for him to do all that.
Yes.
So he's a blessing to have in the community.
He's for any football fans here, he's the Bill Parcells of indie comics.
I like that.
He's got a really good creator tree. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. I tabled next to him once when Boston Comic Con was a thing still, and we just chatted all weekend. Nice guy. Got they got a lot of great books over there too.
You know, shout out to Travis. My first very pitch that got accepted was in 2014. And it was accepted by Comic Tribe, was an anthology, but nothing came about it. Travis was in a podcast about a few months ago. I cannot remember Travis, who were you interviewing? First name was an artist.
Just Spelky. I was interviewing Spelky.
Yes. Okay. So
Joe?
was
Joseph Spelky, for those who don't know, or Joe.
Yeah, Joe, I love
He was lined up to be the artist. However, Travis had computer problems. The anthology never came about. And I mentioned, Joe was supposed to be my artist, and then Travis was on a podcast, on Tyler James' podcast, like a month later, maybe a week, I'm not sure. And during the podcast, you mentioned the Oxymoron book during the podcast. And now, my very first story that I wrote back in 2014 is finally going to be on a Kickstarter coming in September.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, nice. Tyler, I've loved Tyler. Tyler's probably one of the reasons why I'm here, but I remember meeting him at Boston Comic Con, maybe the same one that you had. And he pitched to me the Red 10, and I would always buy great books. And I remember literally grabbing him by the shoulder. I was like, you're indie. You're not going to make 10 issues of a book, dude. Come on. And fair enough. I mean, it did take him about 10 years, but he did. He came out with all 10 books. Actually, I think it's longer than 10 years, but it took him a long time because I think he started that like 2003 and then finished it like 2012, something like that.
Wow.
But think of everything he was doing in between, though, with comics.
Oh, yeah. He was just killing it in every other aspect. So whatever. Free comic book day, like doing all sorts of cool stuff. And then The Sink is one of my favorite books.
Oh, Sink is
on the market. It's literally one of my favorite books.
It's awesome. I love it. And Alex Cormack is like up in our neck of the woods, and I mean his art is awesome. Love his stuff. Yeah, Sink is a great book.
And live on Kickstarter. Back it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all live now too.
This
Johnny,
is
you had your
all a
finger-
testament of like how small our circles are that we run in, that we all kind of know each other by extension, you know.
Yeah, someone is in chat saying, "I know Stony from his time at Mad Cave. The beard has never changed."
Epic beard.
That's awesome. Epic beard. I love that. That's great. Yeah, so you guys are doing a Kickstarter right now all together, which is like I love the title of it. It's like Cthulhu Invades Fairy Tales. Like, what a great idea. Like, Travis, is this your brainchild?
Yeah. This is our fourth book. Believe it or not, this is our fourth book in the series. So we did.
Oh, really? Like, what was the other three?
So we did Cthulhu Invades Oz.
Okay.
Let's see if I got them all around me. There's Oz. You see
Okay.
Oz. Okay.
Yep.
And then there is Wonderland over here. I don't know if I have a Wonderland. We did Wonderland, and then we also did a Neverland.
Oh, cool.
Was
So
that
we
Michael
did
Jackson in
Wonderland.
that one?
What a great what a great idea.
Yeah, so we did. So we've done three of them. So this is our fourth volume of it. And what's different about them, at least the first ones, Oz, Wonderland, and Neverland, is there's one overarching story. So when you buy it, you know, the worst part about anthologies are that one story that takes you out of it, and then you're like, I'm kind of done. Right? You never get to it. Or let's be honest, when you read stories, you're like, oh, I know this guy, and this guy. I'm going to read their stories, and the rest go up the shelf.
Yeah.
So,
I try to read them all, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Like,
let's just be honest. I mean, that's the way it is. So I created a overarching story to kind of tie them all together to make you want to read it, the whole thing, and
I like that.
really get it. So we did that. They've each grown from each one, you know, more and more successful. So we did the main stories, you know, the Oz, Wonderland, Neverland kind of have worlds around them, right? But then a lot of people are like, I want to do Snow White and I want to do all these other characters. So we came up with this, which is more of a traditional stories because they're more just shorts. But we came up with 3 volumes. So this is volume 1 of 3 that we're going to do. So we're going to do 3.
Oh, so you're only doing 3 volumes? You don't have any aspirations of doing more?
For fairy tales, no. But then after that, we're going to go to a little place called the Hungeracre Woods. Maybe you've heard of it. People want to do that. But yeah, we're going to keep doing them. If they keep raising the money that they're raising, which I'm pretty happy with, I'll keep doing them. And it allows me to partner with creators. You know, it all came about one day when I was making a Broke Down. You know, my wife talked me into making that Broke Down book. And I realized that the only way I'm ever going to make money at cons is by having a trade. And I think everybody knows that, right? At some point, you're just like, how do I get that trade? How can I do that as fast as possible? So I literally asked everyone I knew who was more talented than me, you be in my book, and made Oz. You know, then we came back with Wonderland, and then we came to Neverland. And we've had some huge people. You know, we had Colin Bunman last one. We have a lot of Marvel and DC guys, a lot of Image guys. You know, we grow every single book, adding new and great creative teams. And I try to fill it with 25% returning and then 75% new people. I don't just stick with the same people just to grow the audience. And
it's actually a brilliant idea, Travis, to like take 2 public domain properties and mash them together like this. Like it's brilliant. Like, if you ask me, like it's you already got a built-in audience for both, right? Like, so like
maybe a future volume might be Cthulhu Invades Hulu or something like this. Takes over like TV.
I'd love to. If we could.
That might get
public
into
domain, so you got to do
trademarking kind of stuff.
I'd love, you know, all the old shows, Gilligan's Island, all that. Just
yeah,
that would be great. I can't wait for that stuff to become like public or where we can dabble with it, because like just dabbling in all those old TV shows would be so dope.
Cthulhu Invades Nick at Night. We need it.
That would be great. I'd love that.
Well,
like
you'd have like teams, like Dennis the Menace would be like their little like mercenary guy.
He could be on Double Dare. Was Double Dare Nick and Night show?
Dare.
I don't know. You can do the physical challenge, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
Well,
It's kind of cool though.
Because,
sorry, Travis, go on.
You're good. Your jokes are funnier than mine, so go.
Oh no.
It wasn't really a joke. I was just gonna say it's like you've done a real great job of like Keith was saying, like taking the 2 and like finding your chocolate meets peanut butter, right? and just blending the things, and it comes together really well.
Well, and one of the things, it sells really well at cons. So it sells really good. No problem selling at $35 a pop, which is a big price tag. But the other thing that I love about it that I didn't realize until I started writing them is, let's be honest, most of us are never going to get to write Spider-Man or Batman or all these things that we really want to write, right? We're just not going to be able to get there. But when we do public domain stuff, you get to play with things that are going to outlast us, right? You get to play with Alice, or you get to play with the Mad Hatter, or the crocodile from Neverland, or Snow White, or Cinderella.
Right.
And I didn't realize like how much that means to people. Like until we started doing this, you're like, oh, I got to touch something and add to its story, and that's kind of all we want, right? We've been influenced by all these stories, and to give back to that story world, is almost is just as powerful, or if not the same power as us creating our new creations and putting it in the same world, because we just want to influence and have people hear our tales.
Is there a dream touch that you want to touch? Like is there a story that you want to like sink your teeth into?
Like for Cthulhu, or just like what I want to write?
Like things that are proper, not property domain or whatever.
Public domain.
I mean,
public domain. Yeah, sorry.
Is there stuff I want to do that's public domain? Is that what you're asking?
That's not yet.
That's not yet. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan, so I want to do Ninja Turtles like as soon as I can.
That would be actually good. Oh, sorry, Travis. I was going to say that would be a good question after you're done for everybody. I'd love to hear what everybody would want to touch. But go on.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, we were talking about public domain and Cthulhu, like obviously Middle Earth. Like as soon as I get to Middle Earth, right? Middle Earth, or even the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I can't think of what that universe is.
Narnia.
Mm-hmm. Like playing with those things and breaking those things sound like so much fun. I'd love to do that.
Well, you already said 2044 is Middle Earth, so get on it. Start putting the team together.
Yeah, there you go. You have it ready to go.
I hope I'm alive to see that and read that.
We have to make it a Tolkien-sized book, so it's got to be like at least 1,000 pages.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be great.
You have to have pages before it to describe the trees before they're drawn.
The ends.
Here's the story, and here's the omnibus. Here's the thesaurus you need to decipher all of it.
All scripts by Alan Moore.
Yeah, right.
How would you, Ed? What would you want to, what would you want to write if you had the opportunity?
For me, I have a specific weird thing that I would love to write, not Cthulhu related, but when I started the journey into comic writing, I started adapting anything I could get my hands on and turning it into a comic script. So one of the big things that I did was the Decemberists have this concept album, The Hazards of Love. And I started to adapt song by song this album into comic scripts. So I would love to be able to churn that full album that tells kind of one long form story and song, to churn that into a comic book. That's kind of the dream. And my wife's saying, like, you just got to start asking the band, like, send emails, because you can put an art team together. You can show them all these scripts you wrote. Cause I mean, that was all my original scripts were the song by song, adaptations of these works. And she's like, the worst that can happen is you get ignored. They say no, but it's something that's what I want to get my claws on, is to be the official adapter of that concept album.
I bet you could make that happen.
I think you could actually do that now as it stands, because you're not necessarily repeating their work. You're doing your own work inspired by that. So you might actually be able to like publish it. The only reason why I chime in there is because I've always in my heart, I've wanted to do an anthology, and I've actually admired Travis for being able to pull all these awesome creators together to do an anthology. But I've always wanted to do an anthology, and I've wanted to do an anthology of comic creators who are Faith No More fans. And I want each creator to take a Faith No More song and just do a short story based upon it, but not necessarily ripping the lyrics off, just a story inspired by it, right?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and I think it would just be so cool. And I think, Ed, if it's kind of your concept in the same vein of that, you might be able to just do that.
The hard part with that is the album actually tells the full story. So I don't know where the legality lies. And I I mean, it's one of those things when I see bands, like if one of the members of the band happens to be playing a small club side gig or something like that, that's when you go approach them. Because I had the lead singer of Thursday. I really wanted to use some of their lyrics on the back of one of my books. And I just happened to find a show. He's playing a little solo acoustic show down in San Diego. Same day I was doing a free comic book signing down there. And I just went up to him. And he's like, fuck yes, dude, that sounds amazing. I can't wait to see this. And he's like, I'll talk to my lawyers. I'll send you an email. I'll get it all cleared through legal and you're good to go. So a lot of these guys are they love the fact that you're inspired by their work and you want to put it out there. But it's just getting them, because if you send emails, it's going to go to some, probably Warner Brothers corporate thing, and you're not going to get the real person.
Spam folder somewhere.
And but when you can see them in a club, see them in a small setting, I mean, most of them are pretty open. That's what I found. So I've been able to throw lyrics into my books and just say, all right, use by permission. And yeah, if the bands own all of the stuff themselves, that's the thing. They have to actually own the lyrics, which some bands, they sign them away in weird deals. But yeah, I mean, I found that they're receptive. It's just getting them where you can actually have a conversation with them, not, when they're playing some huge place and there's no way you can actually have them become approachable.
Right. Yeah. How about you, Stoney? Is there any character you're dying to get your hands on?
I mean, I've said this before, but I'd always love to work for Top Cow and play with the Darkness and Witchblade.
Wow, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Before I submitted to the Mad King Talent Hunt, I'd been eyeballing the Top Cow one, and that's where I learned to write scripts. Was Matt Hawkins from Top Cow did a huge thing about what they're looking for and how to do that, and script samples and things like that. And I collected the first Darkness and Witchblades when they first came out, and I love them, and I would love to be able to play in those worlds. And maybe part of that is because it doesn't feel like it's unattainable.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. How about you, Phil? Oh,
my mouse today is just so slow. You know what? I think in the year 2034, this will be everyone's answer. But Superman, he's the one, character that brought me into comics. But you know what I would do if I had the opportunity? If I had an unlimited fund, I would kind of do it like Savage Dragon, where it's happening in real time. You know how Savage Dragon? I don't think Savage Dragon, like the original one, is the main character anymore.
No, it's his son. Yeah, it's right? Got the same continuity. You correct?
I would do Superman, but starting off as like a teenager, and do it as I get older, he'll get older as well.
Oh, interesting.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That's a cool idea.
That's what Invincible did for a little while until Kirkman decided to close it. And same with Walking Dead too.
Right, and back in the day, DC did that with Green Arrow when Mike Grell was writing it. Do you remember that? Like when he was doing the Longbow Hunters?
Yes.
Like literally like every 12 issues, Ollie was having his birthday in the comic. And I remember that was like, the comic went for, I don't know for how many years it went, but I thought that was neat because at the time, no one was doing things like that. It was. And I think there's only been like 3 weeks happened in the Marvel universe to date now, I think.
That's what made the MCU so special. It was continuity, right? It was continuity porn. They linked all together. We loved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
That's why Grant Morrison did great with Batman because he took even those crazy years, the 50s, the 60s, and he put them into Batman's Black Book.
Yep.
And use that to tell his stories.
Yeah, great. Yeah, Grant Morrison. I wish he'd go back and do some more superhero stuff. Like I don't know, is he even doing anything now? He's like he seems to be gone.
I think the last one was Green Lantern.
Yeah, and that was like, but that's been a while, right? It's been like a couple of years.
Kickstarter out about doing magic. Am I making that up?
Oh, I have no idea. Does he?
Yeah, he's working on something. I don't remember what it is, and he's got a couple of he appears in like anthologies and annuals and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And I know he's still advising,
Yeah. So he's probably just kind of enjoying life and, he's earned it, I guess,
Grant Morrison books, you got to read them 4 times to make sure you understand them. So people are still catching up. So Green Lantern's only a couple years ago. We're not through our 4th read through to make sure we fully get it before we can do something new.
Yeah, no, that's true. I reread all of Invisibles a couple of years ago, and I still don't get it. So maybe my next reread it'll make sense. I don't know.
Clip notes.
Yeah, right.
That's why I like Hickman. He's got the same smarts as Grant Morrison, but he's got the little infographic, so it makes me feel like I'm smarter.
Yeah, right.
I get it because the infographic.
Yeah, I love Hickman. I agree. But yeah, no, Travis. So like, what made you want to do like an anthology? Like, were you like dying to work with other creators, or were you like? Because it's a lot of undertaking, I would imagine, to put something like this together.
I love working with people, so we have 2 major anthologies. So we have this one, and then we have a book called Holiday Spirits, and we've done 3 volumes. I like to work with people. I like to partner with people. I like to give people opportunities, like people who don't get seen as valuable. I come from, I write about this a lot in my books and my blog, so it's not like secret information, but I come from like a really broken home. And like, I always have to fight to be seen. So that's super important to me. So when you come to comics and like people putting art, like or not people who are just like with power complex, right? Not people who just want to go, I want to be punching something in the face. Like people who actually want to tell stories that mean something, like to go to that next level. And both, I love both. Don't get me wrong, I love both. But when I see those people and they're like, it's not going to make as good as a titty book or this other thing. Like those are the people I love to grab and be like, hey man, I see you. I see the work you're doing. Come on, let's be part of something bigger together. My name has this cred now. I have other people who have cred and I'll help you elevate to hopefully do stuff and combine and try to build communities, I mean, I have a whole, I do a lot of community building stuff. If you don't know a lot about me, like in October, I do a thing called Indietober where I let people draw indie characters, kind of like Inktober, but it's just indie characters. We come up with 30 days of it, make sure everybody gets drawn, make sure everybody's taken care of. I have a huge Discord of people. So all about building community and make sure that people are seen. Like, I think there's a lot of noise, especially when it's so easy. Absolutely. It's so easy these days to do it, right? Anybody can do it. Anybody can make a Kickstarter. It just takes money. It really, and some people don't even have money. They just do 5 pages, right? They come as what little can I do? 1 cover, 3 pages. Yeah. Let's go. It's finding those people and giving them like the opportunities to level up and be part of something bigger. Because everybody has a dream. I want to work for Marvel and DC, but not everybody wants that. And that once I got that, like I was like, all right, so what can I give people room to help their personal growth? Because it didn't make sense to me because I wanted it so bad, like working. Like a lot of people were just like, I don't care about that. I just want to put my books in the world. I was like, but Spider-Man. He goes, like, you don't want to know? You don't want to bring together his marriage and take apart his marriage 100 times? You don't want to do that? I don't understand. How many we need more Robins. You don't want to bring another Robin in the world? What is wrong with you?
It's so funny. Like I used to have those aspirations too, but I don't know. The more I've been working on my own stuff, the more I don't want that anymore. It's weird. Like as I've been growing, like it's and now that Marvel and DC they're not as cool as they used to be. They're like mostly falling apart now. Like it's just I don't know. It's just my aspiration to.
It's like rehashing all those stories over and over again.
Now, I preface that by saying if someone knocked on my door tomorrow and said, "Hey, you want to write Spider-Man?" I would drop everything and go right to it. But but like realistically, I don't have the aspiration to I don't want to send stuff to them. I don't want to. I'm not actively looking to do it. So.
And I think that's what we all have to come to. And it's not because of failure or anything. It's that we build a fan base, and that fan base means something to us, right?
Yeah.
And like I need to write for this fan base, and if that that place already has a fan base. It's had a fan base for 50 plus years. It seems to be doing all right without me, Yeah. Our real goal, if we all think we want to be Jason Aaron, right? We want to be able to create these amazing things, quit, and then just be able to write whatever the hell we want. Like
Right,
now,
right,
he's
yeah,
writing
like-
Turtles. He did Uncle Scrooge. He's doing
Right.
Namor, as well as bringing Skelped back. Like that's the dream. Is we'll be like, I want to write whatever.
Yeah,
the
you
hell I
use it
want.
as a springboard to do indie stuff.
Right.
Kind of funny, like how all those guys go right back to indie. Scott
Right.
Snyder, James Tinian, all those guys.
That's the
you know.
dream.
It is. Yeah.
Phil,
There's one creator who's not come back to indie, and when I first got into indie, 2010, 2011, Morning Glories. I would just love for Nick Spencer to come back and finish Morning Glories. That's all I want.
Yeah, what happened to him? He kind of disappeared after his
Spider-Man
stuff.
We were
right?
really mean to him with that Spider-Man run, Keith. I think.
Were they? Like I remember he got a lot of shit about the Captain America stuff, but I didn't remember him getting a lot of shit about Spider-Man. But I don't know. He just kind of disappeared. Did the internet break him or?
Well, you know, he made Cap say "Hail Hydra." That's a tough one to
The
roll
Twitter
back.
trolls destroyed him, I'm sure.
Tough one to roll back.
And let me tell you what he did to Spider-Man. You remember that storyline that everybody hates where, Norman Osborn rapes Gwen Stacy and has children?
Yeah, was that him?
About? He did no. He's decided to bring it back.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah, he's like, I can fix it. No, you cannot.
No, you don't. Keep it away.
Yeah, that's just
we ignore that exists and we just pretend.
Yeah, that goes right with the Clone Saga.
JMS wrote it. He's like, that's Joe Crusader's fault. It's not mine.
Yeah, you know what, Keith? You say the Clone Saga, but the Clone Saga ended up getting involved with Harry Osborn's stuff, like for this storyline.
Yeah, and it was a hit at the time too, if I remember right, wasn't it? It's a massive hit.
Bit.
Yeah.
I think until the ending when everybody turned on it, and that was pre-internet. It was more just pissing and moaning at a comic shop.
Yeah, that's right. I remember those days.
Did they just do? Because you had your small circle of comic geeks that you could vent to. There was no place, where you could air it out for the whole world to see. So I just remember being in there, reading the final chapter, and like all of us just grumbling together. So I think he was spared the hatred because there just wasn't the
internet, man.
Yeah, the internet couldn't destroy him.
Yeah,
So
we grumbled. It resonated so hard that everybody heard it. Pre-internet, it was. We created our own internet, like just from those kind of things. But just to circle back around on anthology, like I think it's really cool, like getting creators of different mindsets, people who want to work for the big guys, people who only want to do their independent stuff. That produces such an awesome, like, quote unquote, mixtape of just different stories and styles and things that, for me, reading an anthology, that makes it super enjoyable. It's almost like watching like Love, Death, and Robots. Like, if you're going to give it a modern equivalent, you have this nice anthology where it's different styles, different stories, different things that all blend so well together.
Yeah, definitely.
So to that point, and maybe I'm parlaying a little bit right here, but can you talk a little bit about doing this latest volume that's live on Kickstarter right now?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, there was a lot of people wanted us to go to 100 Acre Woods. And I really wanted to, but Tigger wasn't available. I'll be on 100%. And I feel you can't do a Winnie the Pooh book without Tigger. Like, what's the point? Like, Tigger's the best.
Like it's like making a Venom movie without Spider-Man. Oh,
right.
Wait a minute.
Wait, it's
or three of them.
Or three of them.
I mean, that's not the only questionable thing they did in those movies, but sure.
Let's not forget Morbius or the upcoming Kraven the Hunter.
Hey, everyone loves Morbin time. Show some respect.
I still haven't seen that movie.
Oh, you're blessed.
Yeah, same here.
So on the path to getting there, I realized that so there's so much continuity in the Oz, Wonderland, and Neverland. Like there's a through line, there's all the stuff that we did. I was like, why don't we take a break before I do that again? Because I want to do that again with 100 Acre Woods. And also for 100 Acre Woods specifically, one of the things I've noticed when I sell it to the cons, I have no problem selling it, but some people look through it and the different art styles really like bug them. And I think that would be more dominant on a Winnie the Pooh Bear book because they have a look to them, right? You know they look that, so you kind of have to have a certain art style. You can have variations of that style, but they've all got to be kind of that style. So so putting that together is a little harder versus Wonderland. It could look crazy because Wonderland is gonna be crazy everything, you know.
Yeah, right.
And so by doing that, I decided to take a break and do short stories, get all the fairy tales out of the way. I realized there's tons of fairy tales. That's why we broke it up into we broke it up into 3 volumes, and I promise you'll know 12 to 15 of the stories every time. You'll probably know at least 12, and then when you read it, you're like, oh, I know this one. You don't know its name per se, but you know it when you hear it. Ed's doing one of those. It's a fish that you wish on that gives you wishes. You've heard that story. You may not remember all the details of it, but you that rings a bell to you. It's either that or you read it on a fish at a Chinese restaurant before you put a coin in. Like it's there. Like you get it. The fable's been there. So I put 3 together, and what this has allowed me the opportunity to do is really give a whole new level of trust that I've never had before with these stories. Because before, it's not always the best person writing everything. It's the best person who I trust. Because if I'm giving them a story that has to have one narrative, certain characters I could only give to people I trust, right? I don't want to just give free reign to people I don't trust as a writer. So there's a lot more vetting versus this is literally I pick guys who I think are talented, and I invite them, and like the best story wins because it doesn't need a continuity. It's literally what it should be, the best story with. I do be honest that I do factor in, like, if I feel 2 stories are ready, if you have a bigger social media presence, probably going to give us a bigger social media presence. But in general, like there's literally a guy who I had a feud with right before he did it. Like I had an issue with something he said, but he was the best story. So I gave him the story. In fact, you guys have him on a lot. I'll even say his name, Nandor.
Oh, Nandor. Yeah.
I love Nandor. Oh, no.
But he's a little cocky. I love the guy. He's a little cocky.
That's not the experience I had at all when I hung out with him at C2E2. We're talking about 2 different people right now.
Okay,
so funny.
Have you seen his Facebook posts? He gets a little cocky sometimes.
Maybe we had this conversation. I haven't been on Facebook as much as I should be lately.
Okay, but I love him. Even in a feud, like I don't really have grudges per se.
Right.
Yeah,
but
you don't let that get in the way of when you see real talent. You like
there was 6 stories submitted. A lot of them my friends, and I was like, this is the best story. So we're going to pick it. It's the best story, the best art. I'm going to pick it, and that's what this one's all about, is really getting the best stories, the best art, retelling these classic fairy tales that you love, some of the key ones in this one is Snow White, Cinderella, Goldilocks and 3 Bears, Rumpelstiltskin. I mean, these are ones that you guys know and love, Boy Who Cries Wolf, all that.
So Travis, so like when you put this together, so do you let the creators pitch you what they want to do, or do you kind of take a story that you want to see and assign it to a creator? Is that how do you kind of do that?
I give them a list because I plan on doing 3 volumes of this.
Okay, so you want like certain characters.
Yeah, because you can't have, like, if everyone's doing all the good characters, volume 2 and 3 is going to suck.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
So I broke off the 4 big characters of each. So, like, for this one, the 4 big characters are Cinderella, Snow White, Little Red Riding Hood, and Goldilocks, 3 Bears. For the next one, it's Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, Jack and the Beanstalk, and 3 Little Pigs. For the last one, it's Frozen, Little Mermaid, and I don't remember the other 2. But
no, Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty. I keep that Neverland. Believe it or not, Humpty Dumpty, though it is a fairy tale, we used him in the Neverland, in Wonderland, because Humpty Dumpty in its entirety is told in Alice in Wonderland. Ask Phil, who wrote our Humpty Dumpty.
I wrote a story about him. He's a mad scientist.
That's kind of cool. It's a good twist.
I like that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So I allow them to pitch. The only stipulation I have is I keep it fairy tale based, because one of the things I don't like about anthologies is this one's space, this one's this one's it takes you out of it, because someone may I don't like space tales. So you know what you're getting when you pick it up. Everybody's getting what they get, so you kind of, I'm basically trying to, all those obstacles that prevent you from buying an anthology, I'm trying to
it's kind of like that The Seinfeld episode. I'm sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
I was just saying you've already overcome the objection by the product itself.
Right.
Essentially. Yeah. There you go. And it's also it gives consistency. There's an expectation you can set for the reader, and then it makes it easier to pitch as well. Because it's not, like you said, it's not scattered all over the board, but there are distinctive voices across each one. Different creators, different voices. You know what I mean? For each story. I was gonna say, for this latest volume, all you guys are in this latest one, right? Can you pitch your stories? I'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
We want to start with Phil?
Yeah, my story is a tale of friendship and war. And it's about the art is Jack Van Thome. He actually did my story for I did All Lost Boys Go to Heaven, and that was in the last Cthulhu Invades Neverland. So I've worked with him twice, worked on the last two stories. But my focus is on Tortoise and the Hare, and it's pretty much it's kind of like Karate Kid a little bit, where Hare is kind of like the mentor trying to calm down Tortoise. Actually, I'm sorry. Wow, opposite way. Tortoise is the mentor calming down Hare, and as he's training Tortoise, Tortoise starts hearing voices. Turns out to be Cthulhu, and then uses him as a weapon to destroy the village. And when he realizes he's about to kill Hare, he confronts Cthulhu and then has to rebuild the village.
Huh.
That's cruel.
I like that.
Pretty scary concept because my friends call me Hare sometimes. So it reminds me of. It sounds like that because my friends' little kids call me Hare because they can't pronounce Hare. You know? So it's kind of scary.
Just don't destroy your village here.
I like how it honors Lovecraft
Don't
by
get
like
angry.
hearing voices going towards madness. That's pretty cool.
I do like that.
Yeah.
How about you, Travis?
So I wrote in this particular one, I wrote Rumpelstiltskin with Chris Madd and Shana Madd, which if you don't know them, they're fantastic artists.
They're awesome.
And what I did, which is really interesting. So when we do Cthulhu, when we say Cthulhu, it's not just Cthulhu, it's all of Lovecraft. So we use all of Lovecraft. So I found H.P. Lovecraft wrote a story. Basically, it's basically the Yeti and Wendigo type of character, but he never named it. And then someone later named it, but the name is not in public domain. So I wrote a story around that with Rumpelstiltskin because it ties in with Rumpelstiltskin and not being able to say his name. So there's this creature, and we cannot say the name for legal reasons because of public domain. And it's a kind of a fun little tale of them trying to save Mistotonic Castle. They're trying to save it from this mystery Yeti that's coming, that if they can get the name right, they can do it.
I like that. How about you, Ed?
So mine was based on The Fisherman and His Wife, and that's actually a story that I've taught in my class. So it's one that I've taught several different times, so I kind of know that story inside and out. But I thought, okay, the fish is actually connected to the deep ones. And the wife gets progressively greedier and greedier in her wishes. So as she's making the wishes in the regular story, she wants more, and eventually they lose it all. But in this one, every time she makes a wish, she begins to slowly transform into a deep one. So at first, the animals are trying to attack her because the animals hate the deep ones. And then we see her eyes stop blinking, and then her hair falls out. Every time the wish comes, she becomes more and more a deep one until by the end, she becomes a priestess for Cthulhu. And we see her and the other deep ones walking to the shore and finally summoning Cthulhu into the world.
Oh, nice. Like that.
Nice. That one sounds complex.
Tony, how about you? I know it does.
Right.
So we chose the Robber Bridegroom to base ours off of. In the original, this traveling merchant comes to town, and the leader of the town offers his daughter up for marriage, as one does. He invites her back to his house, and she shows up early, and there's nobody home. She decides to walk through the house, as one does. And when she hears him and his friends come, she gets scared and hides and sees them do some awful things to this woman. And she keeps quiet until their wedding dinner, where she retells the story as this dream that she has and then produces proof. And so Ben Humanick and I, the artist, decided to try and take that and twist it around. We packed it full of Lovecraft references, but we have changed it around so that as he comes to a town that's already been touched by Cthulhu. He still falls in love with the daughter. She has this otherworldly beauty, but she's also batshit crazy. So yeah, we twisted around, had a lot of fun with it.
I like it, man. These all sound great.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to circle back, Travis, you talked about like when people come to your booth at a Comic-Con, that all the different art kind of throws them off. Is that really a thing with anthologies? Like, have you noticed that with most readers or?
No, I don't. And I say that like, it's a percentage of them, like where I can tell that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not all of them. Like I said, this sells tremendously well. Most of my contributors buy more books. I actually just had to order, another 500 Ozus because we were sold out and people wanted it. Like I've sold thousands of these books, like no exaggeration.
That's awesome.
Because you don't have to sell it. It's such a great grab. People come to your booth because they know either Wonderland or Cthulhu. They'll come to your booth. You get to buy that, and then you can try to sell them on your other stuff at the same time.
Yeah, that's great.
But occasionally we'll get, when you go to cons these days, people go to a Comic-Con and you'll go, hey, you read comics? I don't read comics. I never read comics. Comics are for kids. Like those people who will pick it up and be like, Wonderland, I know what Wonderland. I've noticed that the different art tends to be a thing. So when I'm thinking about doing stuff in the future, just preparing for books that I think deserve that. So like 100 Acre Woods, I wouldn't change these a minute. If I was doing a sequel, which I'm thinking about doing for some of these, I wouldn't change it at all. But I do think you should be aware of audience, no different than what we talked about earlier with fairy tales. Keep it in a fairy tale setting because that's what people are expecting. Phil himself came up with like a modern day story. It was great, but I want to keep it consistent to help any obstacles from the sale.
No, I feel like that's good. Like, cause I have never been part of an anthology, but like, I have read plenty of them. And when you have somebody that's guiding the anthology with like a vision, I think those tend to be better in my opinion, like, because there is a thought going into it, and you're not, it's just like all the stories are all over the place, and I appreciate that as a reader, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
So I was just going to circle back around to the Travis's point about the critique is that in the Cthulhu is Hard to Spell anthology, I love the book, and the only critique I have is that it can be a little bit jarring. There's a little bit of whiplash when you go from story to story in that book. Still, there's a lot of great stories. I'm not discrediting it, but there is a little bit of like a jarring whiplash when you go from like this, like approximate like 90s image style story, and then you go into some like really cute chibi like shortly after. It's like brushing your teeth and drinking orange juice. You know what I mean?
Right. That's
I think that those are what makes anthologies hard to sell at the table. I think people who love anthologies will buy an anthology regardless. Johnny and I were both in Jack Holder's stuff, and I've seen him sell tons of stuff just by the concept alone. But when you're trying to post it, this is a narrative. This has a beginning, middle, and end. You've got to do a little bit more to that, and I think it helps sell it, and I think it helps make it more of this is a must-have piece versus I just want to support one creator, or I like the concept. I think they were like, this is a cool thing with Cthulhu and stuff. And Keith, I love your work, so you're more than welcome on something I do. If you want me to,
definitely,
your anthology bubble, like we can make that happen.
All right, sounds good.
You can pop your cherry, Keith, is what he's saying.
I mean, the level of talent right here in this stream, I'd definitely be honored to be part of it. That's awesome. So keep me in mind. When you guys do another one, let me know, and I can pitch something.
Sure.
Awesome. All right.
Well,
cool.
one of the things I do is just to say I never reject. Unlike other anthologies, I don't have an open casting call. I personally invite people, and no one's ever rejected. You may not fit for this book. I'm going to move you on to the next book to make sure.
Gotcha. No, that's cool.
It didn't work here. because of whatever reason, because the other talent, like, let's move you on to the next book because I wanted you part of the book. I did my opinion didn't change. It just I got other stuff. When Cullen Bunn says, "Hey, I want to be in your book," I'm gonna pick Cullen Bunn over you. He sells a little bit more books.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's literally on every book. He's like it's like Pokemon. He's collecting them all. Like he wants every publishing company. You can literally pitch him right now, and he'll be like, "I haven't been on it. Like, let's go."
Yeah, let's make it happen. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
And then Dr. Mass said, "Welcome to the show." He also said, "Agree with you on Cthulhu is hard to spell, Johnny. Good stuff in there, but it is a bit disjointed."
A little bit, yeah.
Awesome.
Russell has said my idea is better, so it's fine.
I ain't drawing lines. I ain't drawing lines in the sand.
He was in the first 3 volumes.
It is.
Yeah, he was in all 3 volumes, and I statistically sold more than him. Look at Google search it. I did more.
Objectively, Travis
is throwing down the gauntlet right now.
We're gonna bring it, bro.
Russell's gonna come on the stream the next show.
Objectively, though, I agree. I mean, mixing Cthulhu with Oz and fairy tales sounds more appealing to me than the other one that just is a play on the word Cthulhu, essentially, right? Isn't that what it is? Or Johnny, was that the theme of it?
I think the other thing is that whereas Travis has mixed it with other things, it was a nice mashup. Cthulhu was more of like, here's a general theme, and these are stories inspired by that. So it was geared to be different throughout. It's like, so to critique it is critiquing what it was intended to be, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And he did change it up in the 3rd volume. The 3rd volume was about gods. So it was Cthulhu against gods. Again, because of the success of this one, he was part of it. He was like, oh, let's try to do something that really fits it a little bit more together.
Although my story connected throughout all 3 volumes, by the way. So I was the connective tissue of that series.
Nice.
I only have volume 2 and 3. So
volume 1, I think, is out of print. I might have a spare one for you, Travis, though. I'll have to make a special trip out to Baltimore to see you, bro.
Come to Florida. Let's go.
Yeah, or I'll come to Florida. Well, my buddy Jeff Ryder's in Florida, so we'll have to get together.
We hang out all the time.
Yeah,
awesome.
Jeff's the man.
By the way, Jeff Ryder, if you watch this, I continue to invite you to this book, and you never show up because you're just busy bartending or whatever the hell you do.
Because he's a hipster fuck. He thinks he's too cool.
Awesome. I want to actually show the campaign.
But he's a hipster fuck. Yeah, let's pull up the campaign. Wow, man. Congrats.
I know
how far you've progressed.
Dude, that's such a monster number, which is amazing.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Especially with anthology, like anthologies, if you haven't been paying attention on Kickstarter, are getting less and less. They're not doing as well as they used to. About 4 or 5 years ago, they were doing gangbusters like this, but they're not. But yeah, we're killing it. I'm very happy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you take and you still got 10 days to make more money, which is awesome. You know, so that's awesome. I hadn't heard that. So so Kickstarter is having just anthologies in general.
Anthologies as a whole aren't doing as well. I mean, there's exceptions. You know, a lot of the LGBT community ones do really well.
Yeah,
they're speaking. You know, and in fact, we didn't mention it, but we were Ringo nominated for Wonderland, or one of ours.
Oh, were you really? Awesome, man.
Yep.
Cool.
That's great. I love the logo too. The logo's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, this looks so. These are all the stories. These are like just samples from each.
Yeah, sample pages of it, and then we break down like a little piece of each as it goes.
Oh, awesome! A lot of good people, huh?
Yeah,
Keith,
a lot of these people are. Huh?
Keith, pop up Hades' comment real quick.
Oh, what do you say? Having drank with Jeff, I realize I too may be a hipster fuck.
I think I'm just friends with a lot of hipster fucks. It's all good though. They're cool. They're cool by me.
Jeff Ryder's probably the only person I have stories of Jeff Ryder that I don't feel comfortable sharing on the internet, which is beautiful. Like that's a testament of I've lived with this man.
I know.
Let's hear one.
Trenches with Jeff. He's the best. I love the guy.
The covers are nice too. Man,
these are beautiful. That limited edition cover. Wow.
So cool, Travis.
Thank you.
So you can get hardcover or soft cover as the choices, which is really cool. I think this. When I looked at the covers, this one was my favorite.
Yeah, that's Carmeline. He created Frey for Buffy. If you know what that is.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But Avengers Arena, Superboy, did a lot of good stuff. Route 66, if you're a cross-gen fan.
Yeah, I love that book from CrossGen back in the day.
That was his book.
Yeah, that was I recognize it now. Now the art style. Now that you say it, yeah, that was a great book. I love that book.
No,
all the covers are great. This one ended up being my favorite, though. I mean, this one is.
There's going to be a theme, so he's going to do all 3 cover A's for the whole series, and they're all going to have that border, but they're going to change.
Like even this one is really nice.
That's cool. Now, Travis, for a tier for somebody who say has never heard of your Cthulhu series, what's a good tier to have them jump on for?
Well, you can get any volume you want, but we do have a 4-volume set if you want to get all 4, which I encourage you. You know, it's a little bit of money, but I promise you it's worth it. Like, we have some great talented, and they're huge. They're 160 was the first one, 200 was the second volume, 256 pages was the last volume. Like,
those are big books, man.
Wow.
So that, but you know, we have digitals of all 4 for 40. You know, if you just want to try the digitals.
Yeah.
You can just get this one, you know, you don't need the other ones to stuff, but whatever you're into, you can also go to the website if you wanted to get, if there was something specifically you wanted, if you wanted an Oz or Wonderland or Neverland, those are your favorites, you know, we can get through those.
That's the beauty of anthologies. Like, you could just read whatever you know, random issue in the series or a random book, you know, because all the stories are self-contained usually. You know, so yeah, these are great. I mean, these all look awesome. Is yours, Phil? That one, I like the artwork on that a lot.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that.
He's the only one who's officially in 100 Acre Woods, because I need that style for Pooh Bear.
Ooh,
nice. Yeah.
I haven't said that a lot.
Had you not known that, Phil?
No, just found out.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
I'll reach out to Jack right now.
I like that look, though.
We're
That
in the-
watercolor kind of storybook look is really cool. Yeah, this all looks really awesome. And there's yours, Stony. Yeah, these are magnificent.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah,
we keep it on the relatively affordable side. We don't go crazy. I don't charge like $10 for shipping. None any of that stuff, you know. It's all pretty affordable.
I love that you do the collector's box set too. I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
we got
that for Surrounded by Death.
We got one right here. It's nice.
Oh yeah, let me see. Hang on.
See, this
oh yeah, look at that. Oh wow, look at that. That is really nice.
Cool stuff. And it'll have metal bookmarks. I got metal bookmarks. These will be in there. All these cool.
Oh wow, look at that.
Poly bag, the whole shebang.
Oh man, yeah, you go all out, huh?
Yeah.
That's great. Love it. Yeah, no, this looks like a great campaign. I mean, how have you? Oh wow, you created 28. Wow, you're like an old hat at this. Yeah.
Mad Hatter.
And I backed a few too. Those are all physical.
Oh my God, 1201. Holy shit, Johnny, does he have you beat on the number backed?
Oh yeah, 100%. Put me out of the water. Are you kidding me? I'm a super backer. He's a fucking mega backer kid.
Oh wow, holy shit. Yeah, I mean the campaign's still going. This is great. This is a picture of book signing. That's cool.
Yeah, we do. So one of the things we do is you can buy as an add-on 5 signatures, and I get the Florida creators of it together to do a signing. You know, we've done in the past. Yep.
So these are all the past signings that you guys have done. Awesome. Very cool. Love it.
Cool.
And then all of these are my personal books that I've written. So you're
wow.
Instead any of my personal stuff. These are the
how have we not passed or crossed paths before, Travis? Like I've heard your name mentioned.
Again, like, Johnny is actively avoiding me. I don't know why. I have a brother in prison, and Johnny wears that bandana. So I think they may have known each other in prison, and something happened. I don't know all the details.
I'm not gonna lie, I did have family in prison.
See, look, something happened, and he avoids me.
This
Like
one,
reverse
Coins of
stalking.
Judas. I remember seeing that one around. Was that one of your more? Was that like that? Was that one more in the public eye for some reason?
That one went to comic stores, so maybe you saw it in comic stores.
Maybe that's why I seen. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not a kick. It was a Kickstarter book, but it went to comic stores first.
So what's the
Gotcha.
concept of that story? It was were demons in the coins, or the coins represented demons? I forget how that went.
So yeah, Coins of Judas is the 30 pieces of silver spawn 30 different demons bought with the worst sins you can buy. And these are demon hunters trying to hunt down those coins.
It's a cool concept.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm astounded by how long have you been making comics, Travis? Like,
I did some from like 2003 to 2006, and then I stopped and just started getting back in like 2018.
No kidding. That's a lot of output for, for that short a time.
Well, I'm old now, Keith, and I need to do more because I'm gonna die.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I feel that too. I'm getting older, and I'm like, I just so much other stuff I want to make, and
nothing like mortality to just really motivate you, huh?
Really.
Yeah, mortality
100%
really
is.
fuck your day up,
And let's be honest, like if I really want to get to the Marvel and DC, you only get 5 years there total, anyways. Like everybody's gone after 5 years total anyway. So I really don't have a lot of time.
That's true, and that's if they're even there in 5 years,
right?
And all the stories you hear. But yeah, let me zip through the rewards here really quick, so you can get a PDF of it. That's pretty cool.
Just for 12.
And then so $29 plus. Is that with the shipping, or is the shipping?
No, we do charge shipping, but it's $6. It's not like the 10 or
gotcha.
50.
So
like
it ends up being about 35.
Yeah, some of these shipping rates nowadays are just ridiculous. I don't know what's going on with people. Like,
keeps going up.
Yeah,
it's
like
like
going crazy now.
$15
is
is
like
like how much
shipping.
handling is in the shipping and handling?
Yeah,
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
handling here.
You don't want to know.
I'm gonna say it drives me crazy when creators do that. Like we're already making a huge amount of profit per book, like because of the Kickstarter rates. Let's be honest and stop lying. You can't gouge them again in shipping, motherfuckers. Like that's just wrong.
Yeah. Like I'm paying $10 for shipping, but I miraculously get a T-shirt mailed to me through media mail.
Right. You pay $10 and you know it's media mail, so you know they didn't pay $10.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So I think when you list free shipping, because shipping, I mean, I feel like if you list free shipping, your campaign will get that much more, which will pretty much compensate for what you'd pay for shipping anyway. So like I say, go free shipping. Why not?
Yeah.
Unless you have bulky items like a box set or something of that nature, but any flat single issue item.
He could have put $35 free shipping, and no one would have known the difference. It's like
exactly.
It's a game you play, I guess.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, people are willing to pay some shipping, and the international stuff is out of control, though, too.
Yeah, but it's cost so much to ship international. I mean, it's every time I try to estimate on my campaigns, I end up being wrong, and you just eat some international shipping money.
Yeah, so it's good to overperform just for stuff like that, which that sucks. Like I hate it when your campaign just barely makes the goal, but then you end up paying out of your own pocket to deliver on it, which sucks. But this looks great, guys. All of you. I think you guys did a good job here. And so what is the sweet spot perk, Travis?
I think the best perk is really like, believe it or not, just the book. I don't make a big deal about it. Just get the book. $29, get the book. Just get the physical to you. We put so much in the book. All of our stretch goals are book related. So just the $29. Like I don't need you to spend more or buy the book. I want you to get what you want. I would buy the book and buy a bookmark. Bookmarks are like $6, $7 in the background. I don't remember what I put it on.
And it's complete already. So it's short turnaround time, right?
Correct. Yeah. We plan on January. I really plan on December. I'm just putting it down. We unfortunately, when you come to trade paperbacks, you've got to go overseas now. Just it's done so much in America. Like I mean, the rate, it was literally, just to give you an idea, for our last one, we made 35. It was going to cost us 30 to print 1,000 copies in the United States because of softcover and hardcover. I went overseas and it was 13. Like,
wow.
That's like, it's not even
it's
like
sick. Yeah,
I want to shop America, but like the gap is too
yeah,
wide.
you can't like
it's
to
way
make
too-
comics and to have a profit. You can't like you
Right.
have to go
to
overseas.
say that to shop America, you would have to advertise shop America. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that hopefully might compensate. But even then, it's like you shouldn't have to do that. It shouldn't be that
it's
way.
absurdly more expensive.
Right.
Are you gonna put it through Diamond and all that, Travis, too? All these
I
books?
believe it or not, I was declined by Diamond, which I was very confused because
Were you really?
The Diamond put out. And I was
Are you serious? Well, I heard
I showed them my books and they said nope, and I was like, "Are you serious?"
we talked about Schmalky earlier. I talked to him at Wicked last week, and I guess he's gonna be distributing all his own stuff
He's
now.
taking it from CEX and moving it to.
But he was saying that he had to present to them a whole like almost like a PowerPoint on how
a business plan. You got to give them a business plan.
Yeah, you have to have a whole thing, like a whole plan in place on how you're gonna make. It's like, okay, Diamond, you don't do shit for us, but I gotta. It's like.
And I sent a really nasty email back because I was pretty mad, and I was like, I've got books with these 3 companies. So Scout, I did a small little image thing, and I think all of my copies are 15 to 2,500 copies. I'm selling more than your average comic person with my name on it. So I'm giving you a whole company with my name on it. Like, and you don't trust me? Like,
that's
what is
wild.
your problem? And I promise you, this will sell. I have stores buying it monthly. Like, I promise you it'll sell. So
Yeah, I mean it's recognizable IPs, if they want to look at it that way,
Yeah, if you have a comic
It's
store or
wild.
gaming store, I can promise you money back guarantee that you will sell 10 copies in the first week.
Yep.
And if you have just a comic store, you'll sell 3. And it's just because of the price tag. It has nothing to do with the stuff. It's $35, which gamers have no problem paying $35. Gamers are
yeah.
$35. That was cheap. Any War Machine miniature I buy today, that's fine. Comic guys are a little bit like, hey.
Most gaming add-on bundles are more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Let me share the link in the chat here if you guys want to check out Cthulhu
And they can just go to
Invades Fairy.
CthulhuInvades.com. We'll bring them right to it as well.
Oh, you have an actual website, Cthulhu Invades, that goes. Oh, that's
.com
cool.
that'll forward right to it.
Nice.
Cool.
Right on, man.
Yeah, no, this looks great, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like you assembled an Avengers level of creators together to put out this dope book, man. Congrats, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Mass and asked if does Diamond end up making you money after everyone's cut? No, not really.
Not
No,
really.
You're almost paying them to just put you in stores, but then there's only like a handful of stores that only buy indie stuff anyway. So
Yeah.
I've made in the direct market probably about $2,000, but that's like 12 issues in the direct market. So like that's not
right.
good math.
Be better in one campaign.
Right, which I'll make in one campaign.
Yeah, being in Diamond is cool, but like at the same time, you're not making money. You gotta kind of know that you're not making money with it. It's just more like you want to be in stores, which I get. It's like, but I don't know.
It's the trade-off, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a whole discussion on its own, I guess.
A whole other can of worms.
What? Yeah, exactly.
It's what's your goal, right? Is your goal to level up, or do you want to get your name out there? Because your name will get out there more by more stores having it.
Yeah.
But how do you leverage that? That's the problem, right? A lot of people don't know how to leverage that. So for me, I do want to be in stores, but I also leverage that. Like I have a great relationship with Jetpack. Like I will go to Jetpack. I'll do signings. I'll do all sorts of stuff. I have key stores in like most states where I have one relationship with it, because that's what I think you need to do is like, if I have a book, it'll sell really good at a lot of the big stores. And that's really all that matters. And hopefully those big stores will tell an editor that comes through, hey, this guy sells really well for me. That's the goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Long tail.
It's like getting that right person to see it in like another state that you're not even in or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Wide
definitely.
net that you're building too, man. You know what I mean? You're building a solid foundation with this network and with all your creators that you've pulled together. You know what I mean? So it's like,
But why are you avoiding me, Johnny? Like that's
I'm not. I promise you, bro. I would say,
I come to New Hampshire like 3 times a year, and you're like so close. You're always at a signing somewhere else. Like you're actively. I know you're avoiding me. I don't know why.
I promise you. Next time you're in my neck of the woods, you hit me up. I'll clear the calendar, kid. Me and you, we're gonna go pick up Jack Holder and show him things he never seen before.
I mean, that's not hard. He's very sheltered.
That's great.
I was going to say, before we move on to our own shameless self-promotion, do we want to give all these cats an opportunity to promote themselves and plug themselves?
Absolutely.
And maybe talk a little bit about what's coming up next?
Yeah, if you guys want to go around the room and share your socials, website, any upcoming projects, things like that, go for it.
Start with Phil.
Let's start with Phil.
So my next kick, I'll be involved in the Oxymoron Kickstarter in September that Comic Tribe is putting out. Also,
cool. They're doing another one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are on Substack, I do have a newsletter. It's at Luma Nerdy. I'll throw it in the comments if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
I pretty much talk about my lessons learned about creating comics, and once a week I am posting my very first prose story.
Oh, cool.
So that's what I'm doing right now.
Very cool. All right. How about you, Travis?
Nowhere. I actually don't do anything on the internet. I don't believe in it. Travis Gibbons at Substack is where you can find me. Obviously, Cthulhu Invades. I want you to back this book. Show supporters, not just me, the creators. They all get taken care of.
All right.
Baltimore. Come find me at Baltimore. I'll be at Baltimore Comic-Con. And then on Wednesday, buy your previews. Ask them to order Granite State Punk the Coven. That is my next book coming out through Scout Comics.
Oh, awesome. Very cool. Ed?
So all my social media is under Finish Line Comics, and I have a website, finishlinecomics.com as well. I just wrapped up a Kickstarter for Corruptor 2, so I'll be sending out those ones, and then the next Kickstarter that'll be launching will be for the 10th issue of Immortal Era, and I also have 2 new series that'll be coming out later this year. One of the series is going to be based on when I dealt with a whole lot of bullshit with my eye surgery and wrote most of the story in hospital waiting rooms as I sat for 17 hours waiting for them to fix my eyes. So that's going to be a wild one. And then I have 2 public domain characters I'm playing with that I'm going to put a story out with as well. But I'm waiting till the artist comes on live with me for a show before we fully announce it. But yeah, lots of stuff coming out from Finish Line Comics by the end of the year. And yeah, definitely hit this Cthulhu story. I'm really proud of it. And it's the first one I've actually shown my students, because I taught the story last year and I was showing them the art because everything else is too gory and too much profanity. But I'm like, here we go, students. I can finally show you this because we read multiple stories about wishes turning wrong. And this one, they can actually look at it. And even though it's dark, Travis made me go into the PG-13 level for the first time.
Nice. That's good, though. You at least show them to your students,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Travis had to rein you in a little bit.
Yeah. Calm me down. Like, none of that profanity. Knock that shit off. PG-13 or you're not allowed.
That's great. Hey, I mean, he's directing it, right? I mean, that's why it's got some good quality there.
Got to sell it to all the people at the con. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
I get one F word and one titty. That's it. One F word, one titty. Like any PG.
Not from me, so I'm not taking the blame.
Right, I gave those to somebody else.
Yeah, because you knew if you gave me free reign, I'd go way too crazy with it.
That's awesome. How about you, Stoney?
Yeah, you can find me at Bold Bearded Bard across social media. I don't have everything in the works right this second. Cthulhu has all of my attention and focus. So yeah, go back me and my friends.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, gents. We're going to move on to our segment for Shameless Plug. We're going to start talking about Terrificon. So if you guys want to jump off, I mean, you're more than welcome to stay if you want. But if you want to jump off, you can. I'll Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'll
get
let you-
going. Thank you for having
Okay.
me. Good seeing
Yeah.
you again, Johnny. See,
Good seeing you,
and
Ed.
we're on the opposite coast, Travis. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah, Ed, thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for coming on.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks, gentlemen. Great night. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks
Phil,
for
thank
coming
you
on,
for
Phil.
joining us and
Thanks so much,
adding to the
guys. Take care.
conversation.
You got it.
Awesome.
I'm gonna talk shit about Connecticut, so I'm excited.
Okay.
Word.
And Stony, you gonna stay on?
Actually, I think I have to go. We're remodeling the bathroom, and I'd like to get that done as soon as possible. So,
There you go.
You have models in your bathroom? That's hot.
yes, that's
I know.
what I said.
Who wouldn't stick
that's-
around for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. As much as I love seeing your faces.
Yeah. All right, Stony, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Have
Yeah,
a good night.
Thanks,
absolutely,
brother.
man.
Have a good
All
one,
right.
man. Good meeting you.
See ya. All right, before we get into our discussion about Terrificon, let's play this. Awesome. So Travis, I take it you've vended at Terrificon as well. Were you there this weekend?
No, I haven't. I want to go at some point. I just I'm New Hampshire, so that's middle, so I can accept Mass only because we have to go there for Red Sox and Patriots.
Yeah.
But other
Oh,
than
not
that,
so much. Not so much anymore.
well, that's true.
Not-
We respect Maine because it's vacation land apparently. And Vermont's not that pretentious. They gave us Ben and Jerry's, but Connecticut, they're out of control. I mean, anybody who's driven through Connecticut, like you feel like I don't have enough money to be here. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And they just automatically like, oh, well, we have the pizza capital. Like,
Right.
come on
Yeah.
now. Like they haven't had pizza somewhere else. Come on
Right.
now.
Yeah, so I
There's a
talk
little
shit
bit
about
of truth
Terrificon.
to that, though, Travis.
I
gotta
need to
admit.
go though, so convince me because every year they're like, "You're gonna make a killing." They always give this caveat: when someone wins big. So if someone wins big, I'll make a lot of money. They'll buy your table.
That's
Sure.
Yeah.
that's one show I haven't gone to either. I would love to check it out next year.
Well,
Definitely. I'll have to-
Yeah, I mean, if you
Stop
guys
by.
have questions for me and Johnny, we were both there, so but I will say there's a little bit of truth to what you just said, Travis, about the money spending. Like the impression I got this year is that there was so many people there, but there was not a lot of spending with the indie guys for some reason. Like we did okay. Like me and my wife, we did okay. But I always caveat that with, because I am a promoter, I was able to get the table free because I know the promoter of Terrificon really well. And we usually do a table swap. And the other thing is I didn't stay at a hotel this year. So we drove in and out because it was like only 90 minutes to Terrificon. So basically my costs were very low. I'd say maybe about $100 for food and gas and stuff. So I did did pretty well. But if I had to pay for a table and a hotel, I'd probably be steaming right now, so, or I'd be a little upset about our profits. So, and I mean, Johnny, did you hear the same thing from people or like, I mean,
I did.
I don't want to bag on the show because I like it a lot. I
don't think there's anything that was the show's fault.
Exactly.
That
I
think caused
it's the
bad
spending patterns
business.
of people right now.
I don't. So you do a few shows per year, Travis, right?
Yeah, of course.
So this is in my experience as having done C2E2, San Diego, a few smaller shows in between, Terrificon. This has been a downturn year for me overall. I've noticed that. I don't know if you've noticed that as well in terms of previous years. So explicitly at shows. I'm not talking about campaigns or anything like that. Explicitly at shows, it seems like it's been a downturn year.
Well, I mean, I would say even campaigns. I think you're excluding it is wrong. I mean, I think most people say that their campaigns are lower than years past, as well as tables. Yeah, I think and this happens every election year. It's not even like
I
one
fucking
side or
said
the
it all
other.
weekend long, kid. All weekend long. Everybody's like, no, you're crazy. You're talking politics. It's bullshit. Every fucking election year, it's impossible to sell indie comics. It's like
Why would that be,
people
though?
are throwing their money at the wrong kind of campaigns.
Yeah, I think people some people
Well, I
fear.
think there's a fear there. Yeah,
Well,
right.
there's also
Right,
fear.
there's a
People are
fear that
holding
something's going
back.
to change one way or the other. Like, oh my God, it's going to go this way. It's going to go this way. So they hold on their money.
You got
you'll
till November.
notice consistently, and you can track this all the way back. Our economy is always bad in an election year, like fact. Like the 6 months leading up to an election, it's bad. So the new guy can fix it January 1st, whoever that new guy happens to be.
Right.
Like it's a magical like wand. It's not that Christmas came and that you just spend that money anyways. It's that, it's a magic wand that they got. So I said that I did talk to a couple of people who went to Terrificon, and they told me the two people who I went to, one said they were $60 for making table, and the other one said they were $20. So that's you should always at least make table. I know table costs are getting high, but like that doesn't good. Where some people have said in the past that Terrificon is their con, like they make bank, like people will wipe the table and buy the table. So,
well, it's always been a show. I've done it many times, and it's always I can't figure it out still to this day. It's all my profits are all over the place.
Yeah.
Some years were really high. Some years I don't make the table. It's just a weird show that I just cannot figure out what people are looking for there. And,
I did about a third less than what I did last year. Now my numbers are different because I've got my gimmick, so it goes a little differently. But in terms of the actual amount of books I moved, I did a pretty good job. Not as much as I'd say as previous years, but for sure, I sold a few books, enough to, like you said, make table.
So even though there's a lot of celebrities at this one, I mean, is it still indie comic friendly, or do you guys still think
it is? Yeah, that's the one thing I think. Like Travis, you've been to Boston Comic Con before it turned to Fanboy Expo, right?
Right. Even Wizard World Boston, good sir. Wizard World Boston.
Yeah, right.
The Bayside Expo Center.
Jeez, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Terrificon has kind of become what Boston Comic Con was right before Fan Expo bought it.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah, the ecosystem is perfect at Terrificon. There's not too many celebrities. And there's a lot of focus on comics and comic book artists and that kind of thing, creators, and and they have I don't know. I think it's a good show. It's just some years people are not buying. That's the thing. Like I think because what you guys are saying is like it's an election year, but I don't know. Some people told me they were killing it. So, but I always I'm always like, are they killing it, or are they just telling me that they're killing it? Like there's a lot of that going on too sometimes.
Well, I don't know a lot about the show. I've only known it for about 3 years, but what I hear is the promoter really likes to brag that he can get such and such guests. So he like this guy who hasn't been to a con, and for instance, you had Eric Larson. Eric Larson doesn't do a lot of shows. Yeah. Eric Larson was at Terrificon. He was dope. From what I understand, this guy, whoever is in charge, I don't know his name, but he goes out of his way to get these people, right? Rich, he goes out of his way to get these people that nobody else can get.
He's a comic fan. That's why,
who was this year? Jim Lee was this year?
Yeah, Jim Lee was.
Lots of people. Jim Lee, C.B. Selesky, Scott Snyder.
You name it. There was everybody was there. Walt Simonson.
But DJ Shadowski, I think that's his name. DJ Shadowski. He did Daredevil for a long time.
Yeah, I think so. I think
that's the name. Yeah, that con happened only because he lives in Connecticut, and that guy was like, "You have to come out every time." And then CB was like, "Do you still want to write Daredevil?" Because they've been doing all these flashback stuff, and came up to me. He's like, "Yeah, I guess I'll write Daredevil again." No intention. He was just coming to the show because he would beg for him to come and put him up and do the whole thing. And that really happened because of that.
Scotty Young was there too. That was Scotty one that doesn't do West. Hey George, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, hey George.
Scotty Young was a huge one, but it was filled with a ton of really high-end comic creators.
Was Gary there? Gary Summers?
Yeah, he was actually.
He celebrated his birthday there.
Yeah. Right. He was telling me he's got some new show that he's working on, so we'll have to see if that happens. But me and Gary talked for a little while. We were fine with each other.
What do you guys think about the current state of conventions around here? Because Gary, the guy that runs Terrificon, they're all kind of getting older. Do you think that is there going to be a people new things?
Running conventions? I mean, I think they're going to come and go. some will die off and some will be reborn, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll
Like
always have
Mary.
Plastic City Comic Con.
Of course.
right?
If-
Well, I don't know about that. We'll
everyone-
see. That one might die sometime.
No.
Everyone gets older except for Keith.
Yeah, right.
Travis, if you didn't know, Keith does run a convention called Plastic City Comic Con.
I don't even know what a plastic city is. Where is there a plastic city?
So Leominster, Massachusetts
next
is
to
known
Emerald
as
City.
Plastic City.
It's it's known as the Plastic City. It's where the
Mass
one...
is Boston and then Salem. That's the end of Mass as far as that.
It's central. It's
it's a little bit
30 minutes north of Worcester.
Okay.
And it's Plastic City's known for two things: Johnny Appleseed's birthplace and the home of the pink lawn flamingo.
Right.
Does it
So
have like
that's-
the restaurant, that like Pink Flamingo restaurant? I think I've seen it on like a couple of those.
Oh
cookies.
no, it should,
No,
though.
But that would
I
be
don't know why it
brilliant. That's
doesn't.
actually a good
Yeah.
idea.
I don't know why it doesn't. But but back to Terrificon. I mean, overall, like, I had a good time meeting a lot of new people that I hadn't met before. I talked with Philip Kennedy Johnson, which is like a newer creator that I love. And by like the second day, he knew me by my name, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I gave him a copy of Mighty Mascots, talked to him, gave his kids some stickers and stuff, and he stopped by the booth and he knew my name. It was just very weird. It's kind of surprising. And then finally met Tim Seeley for the first time. Never met him before. Talked to him about horror movies, and I love that comic that he does called Local Man, which is a great book. And and then a couple of cool things that me and Johnny went and talked to Sergeant Slaughter, and there's a tiny slight chance he might come on our show. We talked to his agent, and he said, the agent said, "I'm not promising anything, but email me," and gave us his card. So
that would be
slight
exciting.
chance we
Fingers
might
crossed
have,
for that one. Yeah.
Sergeant Slaughter.
I've met him
Another
once,
one we might have too is Scott Snyder. He came by. He was walking by my booth to go to his, to go do his signing, and I stopped him and I gave him a copy of Mighty Mascots, and I gave him a card for Indie Comics Relay, and he said, "Yeah, let's, I'll send you a copy of Absolute Batman, and maybe we can do something." So.
He means that, actually. So when I was doing my first Scott Snyder, because I'm in his group, he'll do indie. He loves indie, really focused stuff. So he'll message you if he's interested. And
that's awesome.
I've had a couple of people where I've been co-host and stuff where he's been on the show. So you will 100%. That's a very high possibility if he does his traditional thing. Because he's like, do you remember David Pepos when like he does the OZ?
Yeah.
Like he's everywhere. Scott Snyder does the same thing. Like doesn't care. He doesn't care your numbers or subs. He's like, are you actual comic fans? Those are the people I want to know.
I love that. Yeah, he seemed genuine. Like, like I said, I only talked to him for 2 seconds, but he seemed genuine about it. So that one hopefully is a real possibility. I'd love
that
to
was
have
the
him
other
on.
flip side of Terrificon for me was not only just doing business, but like the networking connections and the opportunities
Was amazing this year.
It was amazing for me. Yeah, I met a chef who I'm trying to influence him to do a burger based on Surrounded by Death. So it's like that would be cool, you know what I mean? Just little weird, fun collaborations like that,
I should for you, Johnny, because I know you're a big wrestling fan. Do you know John Crowther?
Rings a bell.
He does a bunch of the wrestling comic books. So he did George Animal Steele's autobiography. He did Glacier because apparently someone cared about his autobiography. He did the Legion of Doom. Like he's got all of these wrestlers on
their bio stories in comic format, right?
Yeah. But he'll bring, if you ask him to bring them on your show, they'll bring them. Like he does them all. He's done a whole bunch of them.
Oh, that's really cool.
So he lives in Florida, really good guy. I get you his contact.
Oh yeah, definitely put us in touch. That'd be awesome to have a few pro wrestlers on the show. We always fly off on a pro wrestling tangent, dude. It's ridiculous.
We do.
Well, you don't watch great wrestling programs, so you need to talk about it to have any comparison because of AEW. I understand.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go. See?
Johnny, Samoa Joe. Tell him.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So
Yeah.
So I met Samoa Joe at Terrificon.
We did too for a brief minute. We got a fist bump from him, me and Amy.
Yeah. So at Terrificon, my gimmick is that I've got Surrounded by Death. There's the coffee element of my comic book, so I build a pop-up cafe. So I had the full pop-up cafe from my comic at the show on the show floor, and people come up, get a cup of coffee. My favorite thing would be to pitch when they come up and ask for a cup of coffee. I tell them, just so you know, we're not a real cafe. And that's how I lead into my pitch for the comic, and it blows people's minds. It's almost like you get the reaction that people would like if they're on Impractical Jokers, that kind of thing. They're just blown away by it.
What?
Yeah, oh right. My God! Exactly. So
camera here.
Yeah. So Samoa Joe walked by, and I'm a big fan. So I just said, Samoa Joe drinks for free.
He screamed it out, right?
He gave me a little bit of like one of these, and then sure enough, he sent one of the attendees over to get a coffee order. Oh. And I was just over the moon that he was just drinking my coffee, let alone he actually then inevitably came by the booth, took photos. Real nice guy. Nothing like you'd expect him to be, the character in which he is,
Is he related to anybody, like on the Samoans or whatever? I don't know who he is. He's like after my time.
No. He's not. He's not part of that
cool,
family
wrestler though.
He
Johnny
needs to make more his own
got me
films.
into AEW, and I've been watching it. So
I'm more old school. So I don't know. I'm not familiar with his work.
But Sergeant Slaughter, right?
Oh yeah, when I met him at where was it? In New York. He put me in a Cobra Clutch.
That's awesome. Well, they had him off with he wasn't with the celebrities. He was off in his own area, which
he was just a few booths down from me, so he's very accessible.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it was
seen him walk by a bunch over the weekend. Other celebrities I bumped into, I actually shook hands with Matt Ryan because he was walking by. Told him how much I loved him as Constantine, which I thought was, he is Constantine in my eyes. That's one of my favorite comic characters. So that was cool. He liked that. I got to talk to Michael Rooker for a few minutes. That was cool. I told him I thought Horizon was amazing, and he was like,
he's very intimidating.
What's that?
He's very intimidating. When I met him,
really? No, he was totally.
Well, no, he's so cool. I met him at Rhode Island, and
he's totally like the nice guy, nice Michael Rooker guy.
I gotta show you maybe next week. I'll get him prepared, but I have like a 10 photo series of him like making fun of me because I'm in line to meet him, and he's wearing like the sunglasses and the hat. He looks like he's like under the Witness Protection Act or something. I'm like, hey Michael, can you Mr. Rooker, can you take your hat off, because nobody knows it's you. If I take a picture with you, and it's like, what? Like, oh, I'm like,
I would have been offended too.
Oh, I have a photo that was sent to me of while I was off. At the end of the day, Sunday, I was all out of coffee. Business was real slow. I go, let me go around, say hi to people. Perfect time to go touch base with other people, check in, whatnot. Courtesy for all creators out there. Go see your other people at other tables if you can duck away. Long story short, I'm catching up with Brian O'Halloran from Clerks.
Oh yeah,
and while that was going on, Michael Rooker's yelling at the people at my booth that he wants a cup of coffee.
They didn't give it. They didn't give him one.
We were out. Sorry, we're out. And he's just yelling. He goes, oh, I want a cup of coffee. So my buddy goes, Michael Rooker's at the booth. Come over right now. So I missed Michael Rooker, but I heard he's a real sweet guy, real kind.
He's a nice guy. I was kidding around. He was lightly making fun of me at the thing in front of everybody, like pointing at me.
That's great. That was about all my highlights. Of course, we saw our buddy George. We saw, tons of people that I see usually at that show every year, that I only see at that show. And I don't know, the whole weekend ends up being a blur after, come Monday. But yeah, I had a great time.
Aside from it being an election year, I think it's a great show. I think anybody who felt deterred by your business this weekend, just understand that it's just an off year and don't not bet on the show for next year. Next year's going to be a little bit of a challenge because next year's show aligns with Fan Expo in Boston.
Yeah, that is not a good.
But
good
you know, there's a
idea.
tone to a Fan Expo show and there's a tone to Terrificon. And if I had to hold those two tones next to each other, I think I'd take Terrificon any day of the week over a Fan Expo show. Because
Yeah,
you know
the-
what? Sorry, go
The only
on,
Fan
Travis.
Expo show that I feel is worth doing is MegaCon because it's really not it's a Fan Expo show, but MegaCon has a thing, so
There's legacy built into
right,
that show.
legacy built
So-
into it, so it doesn't feel like a Fan Expo show.
Right. It's like Fan Expo bought it, but the wheels were already moving, so they didn't interfere or intervene. Whereas with Boston Comic Con, they bought that and they kind of turned it into one of their cookie cutter, one of the other shows they do all over the US, and it doesn't feel the same. So where you have Mitch, who is a genuine comic fan, who and a pop culture fan at heart, you have him there, him programming a show versus Fan Expo, which is just a corporation. It's just a company that's going to put Geico on the floor, or some fucking gutter company. You know what I mean?
Well,
Is he going after him? You think is Fan Expo going after?
I don't know what happened there. I don't know if I don't know if Mitch wants to go against them or they want to go against him. But yeah, there's something there.
Sometimes it's just oversight. You know what I mean? Logistic oversight.
Honestly, the worst thing that's going to happen about them button heads like that is all the vendors and artists are going to suffer because it's where do you go? You don't think so?
I don't think so. And here's why. I think they're far enough away.
You think so?
I think any crossover vendors you have, other people will either fill in, or there'll be not less attendees, but less vendors. So it'll equal out for the amount of attendees and you'll actually do better business. It's the same idea that you have where you have a one-day show. Table ratio to attendance. That makes a big difference. If you have a one-day show with 1 million tables, people are going to struggle making money. But if you have a balanced amount of tables versus actual attendees and only on a one day, that's a good formula. That was why the first Wicked Comic-Con in Boston was so good. One day show. It wasn't overcrammed with tables. Yeah. They advertised the shit out of it. And it was a killer. And it was just coming back from COVID. So it was a killer show. And they're growing. They're getting better and better. Same thing with Terrificon. Like you were saying, Travis, MegaCon, it's got legacy. It's built on those bones. Terrificon is the same thing. It's building its legacy. It's there consistently year after year.
Well, do you think that true was affected by Wicked though?
I'm sorry, go on.
Wicked was the weekend before, wasn't it? So, do you think that may have affected some of the sales?
Maybe
a little bit.
People, and you can get into if you don't care about the big names and you want indie guys, there's no reason to go to Terrificon.
Yeah, I think
that's a valid point.
I'm definitely going to choose Terrificon, but I did notice because I did Wicked last weekend and Terrificon this weekend. I noticed Terrificon affected WickedCon because there wasn't as many people at that show, but Terrificon was packed. They were sold out on Saturday. And
Given that it's a 3-day show, Terrificon, versus the 2 days of Wicked, right? Or was Wicked 3? Wicked was 2, right?
Wicked was 2, yeah.
Okay. Financially, did you do better at what show?
Financially, I did better at Terrificon.
Okay.
Wicked, I was $10 away from making table.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a fun time at that show, so I'm not going to bag on that show either. But
both shows are great. No, I'm not trying to bag. Just trying to statistically hold up.
What was better? Dr. Mass makes a good point. Fan Expo people go for celebs. Terrificon people go for comic people. I think that's true.
I think celebs wise, Fan Expo has been kind of weak lately in that past few years. I don't know. It's wasn't too impressed with
Fan Expo. I've yet to go. Ever since Fan Expo bought Boston Comic Con, I have not gone back.
Yeah, the
I've
past
not
couple of years
from one wristband to that show.
What's that? What'd you say, Johnny?
I've not paid for one wristband to that show at all, ever.
I mean, I've been meaning to
won't.
try it because people have wildly different. And again, this is if someone is telling the truth about their sales. People have been saying they have great shows there, and then other people say it sucks. So I don't know. I have to try it one of these days, but.
I've heard bad business practices about the way they've managed some of their booths and their artist alley stuff, and just to rub me the wrong way. So it left a bad taste in my mouth where I wouldn't, consider it.
Yeah,
just the way it is.
They don't put any effort into, because I've gone to several. They don't put any effort into the artist alley area, so it's all just thrown in there, no rhyme or reason. So you could be stuck in like a pink anime section, like
they
have
don't think
a, like
about it.
hardcore. Death Reaper coffee shop, like in the mix of it. And maybe that will work out for you, but odds are someone's going to look down that aisle and just not go. Like, all right, I see everything they want. So that's big of a struggle. Fan expos are all about positioning. Like they really are. If you don't get a good positioning, so meaning you don't have a good rep. So you got an end cap or stuff like I killed it at MegaCon, which is Fan Expo show last year, but I was sitting right across from Jeff Loeb. So of course I killed it. The Loeb is literally right in front of me. People are going to come to Jeff Loeb. I have a good comic. I have enough comics that if they're standing in line, they're going to check them out.
That's why I think we did well this weekend too, despite because like we were across from Jason Aaron, so it was like he was like I was like, oh my god. So it was like that was cool,
So if you're Terrific Con, why can't you just change the date just to not compete for next year?
I mean. That might be an ego thing. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, I personally would have, but maybe
it's tough.
Maybe,
it's tough when you're working with a venue like a casino because there's a lot of
might
things
only
happening.
have that
like
date
there's
available.
only a few dates that are probably available. So
that's what. Go ahead, Johnny. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, so that's probably part of the problem, right? Is that there's so few dates available. It's kind of you have to pick the best one, right? You look at. I mean, it's not like it's the first time. Two shows later in the same date that's happened before in the past. I mean, this past year, SPX and Baltimore were on the same day. The same day.
Yeah, that's
40 minutes away from each other.
Yeah,
how just dumb is that? But neither show totally suffered, and it's going to happen again next year. So,
and I was going to say that's the same with us. If the hotel doesn't give us. We gave them 3 dates, and if none of those come back, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I'll probably have to try to figure out something for for earlier.
Scale
in the
back,
year.
Do a smaller show, and then go back to
Yeah, maybe go for the following year or something. Yeah, we'll do something.
2 days at a smaller venue.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. We'll see. But
you guys are rough up there in New England because I remember I won't give names, but like, oh, I can't go to this. I was like, my friends, I'm like, hey, you can't go to this show. Well, this one's run by this guy. I can't go. If I don't go to that one, then I can't go to Wicked and this and this. Can't go to Granite. Oh, but if I go to this one, I go to this series. I was like, what the fuck is happening? What is it? Civil War? What's happening?
It is. It's so cut fucking throat, dude. Travis, there's like 3 to 4 con promoters I trust. One of them's on this stream right now. And the 2 other are very personal friends. The other ones I couldn't trust as far as I could throw them.
Wild.
Yeah, that's what it is, Travis. Is I was saying like if a Hollywood producer is out there listening, and you want a great reality show, cover all the frigging con promoters in New England, and like you will have a #1, high rated program on just the stupid shit.
That's a show, Jerry. Oh, sorry.
It's a show. Yeah.
No, it's wild. I went to GraniteCon because they invited me because Granite State Punk, it does really well in New England, and it sells. It's a very popular.
Those guys are great. The Pearl Brothers.
They're great. But I remember getting emails. If you go to this show, you can't go to. I was like, what? Why? I don't even live in New England. Like, what?
Yeah, right.
I'm flying out. Like, people like people who fly out. Like, that's an attraction.
And the one guy it's coming from, and I have no bones throwing him under the bus, is the guy that runs Rhode Island Comic-Con. He's the worst. Like he'll find out if people are going to run a show, and he'll go online and steal all the URLs so that they can't create an effective like website. It's just like stupid shit like that. Like he's like the one guy in this whole area that thinks he should be the only convention around. It's maddening.
I envision the story to be like, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's a documentary called The King of Kong, and it's about the pursuit of the highest Donkey Kong score.
Yeah,
that is how we envision a documentary about New England con promoters.
Yeah, it's
one upping each other and doing all this nefarious shit, and then like kind, honest people like you and Amy who run plastic, getting like the shit end of the stick for dumb stuff.
Joe and Wendy are amazing.
Joe and Wendy as well.
Emily and Jeremy are awesome. There's so many great promoters, but it's just there's a couple that really suck in this area. And yeah.
I mean, we've got it here in Florida too, but it's like it's the 2 one-day show people fighting, so it's not that big of a deal. You're like, oh, okay, right. 1 day, the one guy, because in Florida you can have shows out all year round. There's no winter break, you could, because we have good weather all the time. So it's 2 one guy. If you go to one, you can't go to the other group of one, but they're both running a show a month. So it's not that big of a deal. Just figure out how you like better. It's not a huge deal, but the big ones, like, we know that creators need to create money, so like they can go to all of them, and it's really stupid.
Any flea market can be punched up to be a Comic-Con.
Right.
Well, I think that's what it is. I think in this New England area is a lot of saturation on people that want to do cons, and most of them, I say, 75% of them are good. Johnny, would you say?
I'd say so for the most part.
And
I mean,
I like most of the people in this area. It's just those couple that have ruined the experience, so to speak. But I don't do their shows, so it doesn't affect me anymore.
I love New England cons. When I've gone to Granite Con or gone to Jetpack for Free Comic Day or the couple of store appearances, I love them. They're really friendly. Like, and it's because I'm from New England. Like, I don't have to like put on a different person. I could just be myself. I don't have to. So I can be like a little, like, I can throw a little shit, as a joke, and they're not going to balk at it. You can't do that in Florida.
You can't take the New England out of you, kid. It's in there. You know what I mean?
It's like part of your being, man.
Like, I'm one of those guys where they walk by me at a con. I'm like, hey, you like comics? They're like, no. I'm like, why the fuck you here, dude? Like you're at Comic-Con. You're gonna mess it all up. Like,
right?
You go. Are you here against your will? And like really embarrass them.
Blink twice if you're not okay.
Right. I want to save you. I don't read comics. Then why? It says Comic-Con, and I will even call the promoters on, like Tampa Bay Comic-Con. I'll blast it. It's this weekend. Literally, they just added the 3 comic desks they have. Like, stop calling yourself Comic-Con. You have no interest in comics. Just stop.
That's what Rhode Island is too. It's like their comic section gets smaller and smaller every year.
It's all celebrities.
It's mostly a celebrity show.
Yeah,
now.
right. Yep.
But I'm not a fan. But did you get either of you guys have any other questions about Terrificon? I think it's a good show to check out, Travis. Definitely.
It's on my list. I've been wanting to do it. In fact, I was this close to going this year. A friend of mine invited Kyle Willis. I don't know if you know Kyle Willis. He does a lot of art. He's more of a whatnot seller. Like he does.
Okay.
But he doesn't create his own comics. He just does a lot of covers for people.
Yeah.
And he's a big whatnot seller. So he invited me, gave me a spot, but I felt like if I was going to do that show, I need my own like space and spot. Like I'm too big to share tables now. Like
I
have too many.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like people. I need my own spot to let me do my own thing. Like, let's hang out. I do have one question though, and I knew. Do creators just go crazy on the casino and spend all their money and lose it? Because I'm worried about creators because they make bad business decisions sometimes in comics. I can just imagine they're gambling that they also make bad decisions.
I will say 1 year I did go out there and gamble a little bit, and it was a stupid move. But I imagine some people do that.
They do have. Is that what they have? The buffet, whatever you pay. Like, it's like a huge. My friend and I had a eating contest one time. Like he challenged me to, it's like Harry, let's see how many trays of food you can eat, which is pretty gross if you think about it. So I think I ate like we went up like every kind of food you can imagine, like from every nationality, whatever. I think I ate like 3 trays of food. I kept going up. He ate like maybe the same amount, but he beat me by one like dinner roll, you know. And I'm like,
one chicken finger, one fucking chicken finger.
We both after that we both couldn't like it was so gross. We couldn't move, we couldn't breathe right, you know.
Go on, Harry.
No, but he ended up getting acid reflux, you know, from that. And so ultimately, I think I won because of that. So,
oh my God.
So I was going to say that, you know, I used to, at the early days of going to Terrificon, right, I would indulge in the casino. And that, in fact, was the mistake, Travis, right? You'd blow whatever money you make. Right. You're eating on site. So you're like paying overpriced. I mean, the food's good, but it's way overpriced, you know, like I've gotten to the point where, like this most recent show, I indulged one night at one of the fancy joints on site, and then the rest of the time I just navigated around it. You know, we found a real awesome place that we all ate at off site that was quiet.
Yeah, that's where we're gonna go next year. Too.
Next year, we have a secret location that we're not going to tell anybody. That's off site. And Travis,
that's a secret.
It's a secret. It's a secret. And Travis, if you come next year, I will clue you in on it, dude. It's awesome
you'll come with us.
You can actually talk to people, and it's not like blaring club music.
And you get served right away too.
And you get served right away. That's the best part about it, man.
That's what I like about Granite is you can just go across to the couple of like places and just kind of hang out like there.
Small little pubs. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, Granite being two things, like I think that's a bad call. We'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, because they expanded into the arena, right?
Yeah. I'm really trying to go back next year. I haven't been in a while.
Well, no, so they have the arena and the thing, but there's another off-site thing this year.
Oh wow.
Oh wow, really? Wow.
And from what I understand, because it's the 40th anniversary of Ninja Turtles, it's Ninja Turtles and then everything else. And if you've never been to that con, Ninja Turtles is why people come. That everything else is no bueno.
Yeah. So that might be sketchy to separate those two things. You might want to think about bringing that back together again.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yikes.
That's kind of true. I was there one year when Kevin Eastman was there, and his line was out, you know, crazy, and no one else was really. He was the only guy anyone seemed to be interested in, you know.
Peter came last year on Sunday, just one day because he was sick. They didn't announce it because he's so sick. It's whether or not he shows. And I was losing my damn comic book mind because people were like breaking slabs. I'm like, you can't break those. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, right.
This isn't a fan. CGC's not here. That's a random dude who says he works for. He doesn't really work there. Like, you don't know how this shit works. Stop breaking your shit.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Like, no, it'll be fine. I was like, I know they say it'll be fine, and it may be fine, but like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Buy a new book, please.
Yeah.
Like thousands of people breaking slabs around me was wild.
That is wild. That's wild.
Oh my God.
I was still very close to, going this year to Terrificon. I had my finger on the button to hit, go, cashed out, whatever, but like, I just, like, I had too many, like, I just bought 4 new tires, I did a bunch of car stuff this week because I'm on vacation this week. But the only question that I would have had for one of the was Tom Welling. He's from Smallville, whatever.
He's the only one I did not see this weekend.
He's like a giant. He's like 6'5" or something. So
yeah, I never saw him. Like even when I went over there a few times, I never saw him.
The one question that I want to ask him is that so on that show there was his best friend, this little blonde girl. Her name is Allison Mack. So he was his best friend on that show, and she was like the Penny from Inspector Gadget. She had the computer, so whenever there's like a bad guy running around, so she like quickly take her computer out, like, oh, it's this guy, and he has these powers. So she was always.
That was the woman that was arrested from the sex cult, right?
Exactly. So she finally, Nexium was the name of it. So the only question that I want to ask him, under the not. In person or in front of people was like, so she's out of prison now. I think she served like 2-3 years or whatever, so she's free now. And I think in a way it's going to sound kind of bad. In a way I feel kind of bad for her because she was also brainwashed, I think, because the guy brainwashed her, and together they what they did, they burned their initials into the girl's skin, like they branded their name.
That's
Holy,
fucking
yeah.
sketchy.
So I wanted to ask, Tim, kind of, now that she's out of prison, would they ever have her on their talk show? They have a podcast too, like a Smallville podcast. I really feel bad for her in a way. I mean, I know she's what she did was like super evil and shitty, but I think she's also effed up in the head.
I don't think he'd breach it. I think he would. Just like wipe it clean.
Security.
I think he's getting a no comment or
Probably.
something.
There's an episode where Lex Luthor talked about, like, I can't think of that guy's name, but on his show, because it was
on Talkville, or
inside
of you,
inside of you. He talked about how she invaded his house one night, like.
Oh yeah. I heard that.
I feel like you've now crossed the line into your personal space where you don't come back, right? Like if you invade my house with a bunch of branded women and try to brainwash me, I probably am just done with you.
It's kind of like how the Saved by the Bell cast just outcasted Screech. Right. They just didn't, they wanted nothing to do with him. Then they felt bad when he died.
Well,
I was gonna say before we wrap up, I want to slice up a small piece of shameless self promotion to shout out a Kickstarter.
Okay.
And not just Travis's Kickstarter, but a good friend of mine. So do you mind if I share a screen for just a moment?
No, not at all. But one last thing I want to say for Terrificon, a lot of great books I got from creators at this show.
What'd you pick up?
I don't have the pile with me, but it is a pile like this. So either we traded a lot, or I actually bought a few, or I met guys that I known for years that just finally seeing at shows and things like that. So yeah, I came home with a stack. So shout out to all those creators.
Respect the indie trade.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, Johnny, go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and share this screen. I wanted to give a shameless promotion to my boy, my hipster boy, Jeff Ryder. He launched his spin-off of one of his books. He's already at the point where he's spinning off his stories, which I think that is just so dope. So he spun off a story of arcane cocktail enthusiast for the Kismet, and he describes it as The Bear Meets the Sopranos. It's basically just a magical chef story. Real cool concept. It just launched today, so there's actually it's 30 days to go. But look at that! It just popped right there. So people are on top of this book. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that if you're watching this tier right now, look, early bird is still going on right now. You can grab awesome early bird exclusives for this book. So jump on it now. Don't back Travis, but also take a quick peek at my boy Jeff's campaign as well.
Is this guy super fast, or does he have 18 hands or arms?
I think a little bit of both. It's very magical. I think this is like a Doctor Strange kind of thing.
Oh, okay, all right.
Doctor Strange kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
Go on, Travis.
Yeah, the book's really, really fun. Our cocktail is a really cool book. Jeff Ryder lives like 40 minutes away from me. We've hung out more than a few times, but he really puts his heart into it and gets some of his art is never he hides his artists. They're always top tier, and he hides them so you don't know. They're not on social media. There's no way to contact them, so you can't steal them. I've tried.
He squirrels them away for sure. That's 100%. He keeps he's very protective of them.
Are
There's
they
only
in the
one
witness
artist
protection program after he's done
so.
making a comic?
For sure. David Pupo, I introduced him to. So I like to always take credit for that. I was the grandfather of that book, or the godfather of that book, I should say, that he worked on with David. But yeah, so that's my shameless promotion. That wraps it up for me there. But
did you have another one, or did you have it, or was that?
The other one was just going to shout out your neighbor at your booth this past weekend.
Trevor.
Trevor Fernandez Linkowitz, awesome kid. He's got his Rise comic. It's coming out soon. I think he's got his next campaign launching shortly.
Is it the graphic novel, or is it just the next issue?
I believe it's the next issue of Rise. It's Rise
Gotcha.
3 that he's
Okay.
got the pre-launch up for. I couldn't find the link for it, so I can't share anything, but I wanted to just shout it out. If you just search for Trevor Fernandez Lankowitz or Pocket Watch Press, you'll find his page.
Gotcha.
It gives me an idea. I want to do a graphic novel of like graphic drawings. Maybe.
Like explicit stuff?
Right.
Now's the time to do it, Harry.
Yeah,
Kickstarter's hot with that. Now's the time to do it, kid.
I'm just kidding.
Awesome. On that note, we're going to wrap up this episode of Indie Comics Relay. I think we're finally off next week. Let me just check
really?
our.
You get a break?
Yeah, I think we're
Nice.
going to
Not
finally get a
bad.
break. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. We've
see.
been going week to week. We keep telling people
No,
bi-weekly
we're actually
show.
on.
We're doing it week to week.
I know. We're actually
we can't make
on
up our
next
mind,
week.
Travis.
We're actually on next week, Johnny, but then we're off
See?
the following week.
See,
Finally,
you see
for
Travis.
Labor
You see
Day.
what he does, Travis.
Labor Day, right? The Labor Day?
Yeah, we're off the Labor Day week, so so we are on next week.
How
so.
benevolent. He gave you Labor Day off, you know.
Yeah,
I know, right?
The
Feel so
day
blessed.
designed to make sure you have a day off because so many people didn't give people days off.
Right.
So
Well,
funny.
first and foremost, I just want to, Travis, thank you so much for gathering all
man.
your crew, coming on the show. Like, this was such a supersized, fun
Nice
episode.
to finally meet you, man. Too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll try to
heard
stop
the
avoiding
name.
Waiting
I
yet.
wasn't kidding or blowing smoke. Like you two are both people I looked up you because I was really interested in New Hampshire Publisher. You're one of the first books. You had the most issues out of anybody from Alterna at the time. So I was like, I guess I got to buy this one. Must be the best. It's got more than everybody else.
Awesome.
And then Johnny C literally has just avoided me. Like Bob Sally used to talk about him a lot. Rich Woodall used to talk to him. Jack used to talk about him. Russell, you're a New England guy. You got to know Johnny. I don't know who Johnny C is, and he's all over my social media, hanging out with all my friends, actively avoiding me. And Harry, I don't know who you are, but you're a Doctor Who fan, so
Yeah, man.
Right
But I've been
on,
around.
Travis, I promise you, next time we're local, like within driving distance, we'll make it happen, bro.
I'll be in October if you wanna crash my brother's wedding. Like, just go now. It's just have fun.
October's bananas because I got Wait, you're gonna be at New York?
See, you
Comic-Con?
already have excuses. See,
Are
look,
you
he's
gonna be at New
already-
York Comic Con,
already
kid?
backing out already.
I literally have something every weekend in October. It's
Oh my
bananas.
God.
But are you gonna be at New York? No,
I'm not gonna be in New York. No.
Oh, okay, all right. So wait, but you're close by to Spooky Empire, right?
I am in Florida. Yeah, I am.
So if I make it to Spooky Empire this year, that might be it.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. As always, it was a great episode. We had fun talking it back. Travis's campaign. Check out everybody's other social medias, and most importantly, read comics. All right, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you next Monday. Good night.